liberty in the fires of hope and prayer. With boundless faith in our destiny, we solemnly declare. Side by side we stand, islands of the blue Caribbean Sea, this our native land. We pledge our lives to thee. Here every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation. Here every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation.
Heavenly Father, we come before you at the start of this new day, giving thanks for life, for health, and the opportunity to serve through this station. We ask for your divine presence to guide us in all we do. Bless this broadcast, that it may be a source of inspiration, joy, and unity to all who tune in. Whether near or far, may our words uplift, our music heal, and our message bring light to those who need it most. We pray for our listeners, wherever they may be. Grant them strength for the day ahead, peace in their hearts, and success in all they put their hands to. Cover those traveling with your protection, and those at home with your comfort and provision. Lord, may everything we do bring honor to you and be a blessing to others. Guide our steps, bless our efforts, and let this station be a vessel of positivity and hope. In your name we pray. Amen.
Your voice, your soundtrack, your station. New Era TT Radio. NETT Radio.
In the night he shone his light, for he met no harm, he came to save us from damnation. Hooray, hooray, hurrah, 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 they say. his own skill and Father's will. So when we are at fault, we know that He loves us still. Ring, ring, hurrah, 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 they say, our Savior is born today. He's coming close to life while the shepherds cry, for they just couldn't believe their eyes. And when He come on, you know that non-Christians get together and found nails in hands. But on the third day, He rose again. So you see, He shed His blood for we. The good book says the time is now. The signs are here. All should kneel and pray. Let's take Him at His word. The Master says the time to start is now, beginning on Christmas Day. Ring, ring, hurrah, 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 they say, our Savior is born today. It's running close to life while the shepherds cry, but they just couldn't believe their eyes. And when He come on, you know they're not Christians. Get together and found nails in His hands. But on the third day, He rose again. So you see, He shed His blood for we.
Wake up, rise up. It's the NETT Radio Breakfast Show, bringing you the energy, music, and vibes to start your day right.
Well, everybody, good morning to you. Yeah, good. Thursday morning to you, Throwback Thursday. As we here on the net are celebrating Christmas in July. I hope that we're kind of winding it down right about now, yeah. I hope that you've been enjoying us so far. Good morning, Trinidad. Good morning to Tobago. Good morning to our neighbors in the Caribbean, and of course our friends who are listening to us far and wide. Those of you all around the globe, different time slots, different spaces. Thank you so much, everybody, for being with us on NETT Radio. We are the heartbeat of the Caribbean, taking you above and beyond. Welcome to the Breakfast Show. Sir Charles, that is me. Happy am I to be in this space. I want to say much thanks as always to the Heavenly Father for bringing us together for another day. And all that we do, dear God, let it be a blessing unto you. I said, welcome to Get Up and Go. This is the Thursday edition of the Breakfast Show.
Get up, it's the time to start the day. The Breakfast Show is here. We bring in the soca way. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Wake up, it's a brand new dawn. The Breakfast Show got the vibes turned on. From Morocco's Bay to the Savannah line. Let's start the day in Caribbean prime. Good vibes rolling through the air. The Breakfast Show, energy everywhere. We talk, we laugh, we make you think. Grab your doubles or your morning drink.
Oh, yes, indeed. We talk, we laugh, and we just make you feel happy. Welcome to the Breakfast Show, everybody. And of course, it is a NETT Radio. So good to be in your company this Thursday morning. As you know, so it's like the gateway to the weekend, according to Richard. But yeah, it's a nice time. Throwback Thursday, so we got some nice jams for you to play today, all right? But let me say goodbye to my co-host Richard, who will join us in a little bit, and of course Wendell, as always, very early, very punctual. He was a good student, people. All right. Yeah, morning, Wendell.
Morning, Sir Charles. Good morning, Richard, Raghubar Singh. Morning, Trinidad and Tobago, and good morning, listeners and viewers all over the globe. Why is my mouth moving after my words? Are you seeing that?
Yeah, a little bit.
Does it appear that way to you?
Go ahead. Well, yeah, I'm talk some more.
Okay, it just appears so on my screen.
It seems to be just a little delay, but that's it. That's
Yeah.
the internet is working.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, we're here. We're happy to be in the land of the living. Happy birthday to those who are celebrating birthdays today, including my son, Che. He is celebrating his birthday today, and my nephew Jamari, out there in Europe. They're both celebrating birthdays today, and anyone else. I think I saw a few birthdays on the chat. When we're going through the chat, of course, we'll greet them. But yeah, I have an absolute today is Rasta Christmas, they call it. I think they'll call it Rasta Christmas.
Yeah, I think that's what it's called. You know.
Yeah.
Just sending birthday greetings. Let me send out some birthday greetings to my granddaughter, my one and only granddaughter. I have 3 grandchildren, and she's the last. She came 1 year ago today.
I think I remember that.
Yeah. So happy birthday to Lelani, and of course to her parents, Kira, and of course Karen. Congratulations. For the first time this year, I was able to wish him happy for Father's Day.
Nice one.
First time my daddy famous, so oh my gosh, he's spoiling the joke.
Good. Ain't nothing like family, Ain't nothing like family. Trust me.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Lilani. And happy birthday to, as I said, to anyone else celebrating birthday today. It would have been Haile Selassie's birthday too, so that's why they call it Rasta Christmas. The 12 tribes of Israel and all those other Rasta groups, they do a celebration today. And of course today is coming just 7 days, 8 days shy of Emancipation Day, African Emancipation Day. All right? So it's kind of very significant. Although I see a day yesterday, I'm wondering how did I send it to you all?
Yeah, I think I saw it with the with the Indian High Commission or something like that.
Yes, the Indian High Commission having this thing for the Indian diaspora on African Emancipation Day. I mean, I'm even seeing East Indians who I know well and who follow strict religious guidelines having a problem with it. How insensitive it could be, because I don't know that. Anyway, you see me, this place, as I tell you, how I feel about this place, right?
Yes.
And it's getting worse. It's almost like if it's provocative now. People are just provoking one another along these race lines, and I don't know what's going to happen. I hope for the best. I wish for the best.
I saw it, and I sort of dismissed it. I say, Trinidad and Tobago, who want to do what, or they do what they have to do. I know what I going and do.
Yeah. You're reaching to that stage, where you're just kind of fed up.
You can't depend
and you say what. Whatever people want to do, let them do. Leave it.
But they choose to do what you do. But you know what you're about, so you do what you are supposed to do.
Maybe the march should pass right in front of the Indian High Commission that day, the African march, because the Emancipation March will be taking place that day. This thing is set for 11 o'clock in the morning. Well, I was passing right in front there and stand up and beat my drum.
Well, everybody does celebrate everything in Trinidad, so why not? Go ahead, man. Send the parade down Victoria.
That's all. Pass it right there and stop and reggle some drum. Anyway.
Come out and mix up like who say? You understand?
Yes. Who say like a classic example.
Yes, that might be a bringing together people in a very subtle way. It might work once. Yeah, it might very well. But
so,
let me send out some condolences.
Condolences.
Yeah, well, to the family, we have. I saw that there's a United States Army sergeant with Trinidad and Tobago heritage, and she died in this conflict in Iran.
I heard that yesterday on the radio, on the news. I didn't get the name though.
Jordan. Her name is Angel Sarah Rampasad.
Okay.
To the family of Mrs. or Miss Rampasad, we wish her all God's strength in this difficult time. I don't know. Yesterday we had a situation. I think we are sending greetings to somebody who was sending greetings to their son or somebody who was going off to serve.
Yes, Christopher. Sir.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I'm reading something like this, and I'm saying, boy, I know I have family who left here who's serving in the U.S. Army and stuff, and they do so very proudly. Yeah? I have a cousin, her whole life and career was in the U.S. Army. She is not retired. She has been in all different kinds of conflicts. So if you're in Trinidad, you've never seen one of them conflict.
No. But that was almost like a must for young Trinidadians who migrated to live with their parents. I think they almost all served in the U.S. Army. A whole bunch of cousins who served in the U.S. Army. You know what I mean? It was almost like a mandatory thing back then.
I was wondering if it was, or if it's just because, when you move across, it's something one for you to do, but to create a career where you can have a better living standard of living for you and your family, because they do take care of them, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, for her and her children, and oh my word, I mean, they like the further she went up the rank, is the more that she was able to get.
Yeah.
For the family and stuff, I think. And so, well, thank God she is out of it now, and but I don't know if any of her children. I'm sure that they did, because sometimes children just follow parents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So to me, the family condolences. And I saw there was also a situation with the 6 fishermen that they found. It was like a bittersweet. They found the 6 fishermen that were missing for like about the last 8 days, and eventually, well, after that, one died, and this, I think, was the captain. I think he is also Trinidadian, and so I said, well,
that's a Trinidad story. I don't know that story at all.
Yeah, I only go to the newspaper, you see it. The situation with the fishermen, and they rescued them. They were on this boat coming out of St. Vincent, and they disappeared, and nobody knew where they were, and they were like adrift for a while.
I just say that whatever became of that story of that plane that went missing, that left St. Vincent, I think, to come here, and went missing, and then they eventually found it. That story has just been buried.
Yeah,
they never really tell you what happened with that plane.
No, where it went, when ended up, and what was the reason.
Yeah.
Anymore about it.
Yeah, they just buried that story.
Like the police and independence quite had a blackout. we had nothing more about it.
Well, everybody who didn't know that Guyana had a prime minister know now, because he's in the news every single day reporting on this Barima tragedy. I didn't know him at all. You know what I mean? I think it's Charles is his name, something Charles. The prime minister of Barbados, Barbados, Guyana, because we know the president.
Yeah.
You hear about the president, the finale, and so on. But you never really heard much about the prime minister of Barbados. I mean, Guyana. Why am I saying Barbados? Yeah, the prime minister of Guyana. You know what I mean? Nobody really knew him. You know what I mean? But he's been very prominent with this tragedy, this in the Barima tragedy. Everybody trying to pull out themselves in that tragedy, though. Yeah, everybody. Because they're calling for the head of the minister, the head of the port. Well, I'm using the word port authority, but everybody giving an excuse as to why it's not their fault, But plenty lives have been lost. They up to last night they only recovered 44. It didn't change in the last 24 hours. The amount of bodies they recovered.
That is really something else. You see, I say when you're doing the wrong thing and the thing go haywire, that is what has happened.
All right, let's get into good news. Hey, Ragu Singh Boy has joined us. Good morning, Richard.
Good morning, guys. Good morning to our listeners and viewers wherever you are. And good morning to my co-host, Wendell and Sir Charles. Good morning, you all. I hope you're in a good mood on this Thursday morning.
So why wouldn't we be in a good mood? We have life, we have health, we have Well, some of us have strength.
Yeah. You know what is interesting? Well, I saw this morning a post by Dr. Tawari about just a picture
Mount Hope Hospital.
Mount Hope Hospital being lit up, and I'm like,
I saw that.
wait, that wasn't lit up before. This was where my brain went.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't have light before, but apparently maybe they didn't. Maybe that bulbs were blown. And
I can tell you they had no lights in some of those areas, and besides the light, they do a little cleaning and thing to it.
Yeah, they brighten up the place.
Yeah.
Oh, because I was wondering, wait, I mean, I haven't been in Mount Hope for a while because, I mean, you know, but anyway, so I just saw that. And then I saw something interesting. I was, you know, I'm always in a state of comparing Trinidad and the rest of the Caribbean. And I just said, let me compare what the health infrastructure is like. And of course, according to Google, the most modern healthcare services are in Cayman Islands, I think, Barbados, and some other place. And then Trinidad was like 4th or 5th. But anyway, beyond all of that, they said something about the International Medical Hospital. Is that the exact name, boy? In Aranjuez. And I'm like, what? What hospital have in Aranjuez? And then
Do they mean St. Joseph Medical?
No, in Aranjuez. And I'm like, what? What is that? And then I saw something about an international medical facility that I don't know if this is true or not, but they're supposedly building in Aranjuez. That is going to be it's a private hospital, but it's going to have top of the line. It's catering for medical tourism, but also catering for that Trinidadians who don't have to go to Miami, and you know, some go to Miami and stuff like that. So it's going to be top notch with a helipad on top and all of that for medical evacuations and stuff like that. International something, and I'm like, wait, is this real? Is this
private developer or something? Not the government.
No, not the government. But still, I'd never heard of it.
No,
so I don't know if either of you all have ever heard of it.
No,
nope.
I haven't heard of it. But I know that El Sicora Aranjuez area is fastly developing over the highway in that area. If it's on that side, boy, they're really developing that area.
The private hospitals on the whole is big business now. I have not seen all the private hospitals I know about. St. Clair, St. Joseph, St. Augustine,
Island International Hospital. Island International Hospital. That's the name of it.
Okay.
Island International Hospital.
It might not only be Trinidadian owned then. They might have other people of the Caribbean.
No, this is what they're saying now. I don't know if this is real or not, but that's what they're saying. A state-of-the-art 100-bed facility spanning roughly 100,000 square feet across a basement and 5 floors, engineered with a full emergency department incorporating a dedicated trauma bay drop-off and helicopter landing pad, 165 parking spaces, and fully automated diagnostic labs. Purpose-built from the ground up to achieve global medical standards and Joint Commission International accreditation. Advanced surgery equipped with 12 world-class operating theaters with Da Vinci robotic surgical systems, oncology and cardiology, and well, all of this, it goes into the specs of it. And I'm like, how did I just bounce this up randomly and just in my, looking at Trinidad and Tobago and comparing it, and just sometimes I just, just do those comparisons just for my own information. And I'm saying, I never heard of this Island International Hospital. I suppose you could Google it and you would see.
Well, look, David, we are just putting something in the chat here. His comment is, it is the new medical building being built in Aranjuez. You can see it north of the highway, very close to the Sando off-ramp. Some people call it the Muslim hospital, meaning it's Muslim-owned.
Okay.
And someone by the name of Wilford Roberts is also saying, check the name Conrad Murray. I know that everybody knows that name.
Yeah.
And I think he is practicing here in Trinidad and Tobago now.
And you mentioned it about a week ago.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's where the connection is, but maybe I don't know. It's something like Ban or go to tease or go to get some fatigue, right? It's something like Bali J House.
Bali J.
What do you mean? It needs some investigation.
You might want to do a check your wealth or assets thing on it.
Yeah. I follow your money.
Follow the money thing on it.
I'd be interested if we can speak to somebody about it, because I have not heard about that before until I coincidentally searched it, and I was like, wait, what's this? But I didn't hear about it.
We're trying to get Dr. Conrad Murray, because I think he is accessible to the media. He has been accessible to the media.
Yeah. Is he the one involved in it? I don't know.
Well, we don't know.
But we have him, so we can ask.
I go in with whoever.
There's a number to contact the people on the website. There's a website, There's a number to contact, so maybe you could look at that number and see if you can get somebody to talk about it, because I have not seen it in the media before. Maybe I missed it, but I have not seen it. Yeah. And it's supposed to open either next year early 2028. But
as I said, there is no private hospital in Trinidad, at least down in Trinidad that I know of, that hasn't drastically improved over the last few years. St. Augustine, St. Joseph, St. Clair, West Shore, they have improved by leaps and bounds in the last 10, 15 years or so.
Yeah.
Leaps and bounds. They have improved.
Yeah.
You know?
Anyhow, people, let's go for our good news and come back, right?
Yeah, man.
Morning, people.
Everybody is obviously convinced that the world is falling apart, so this is a list of genuinely good news from all around the world that's actually real and nobody's covering. Italy just voted for every single animal to get out of circuses and traveling shows, and every single one of them is getting rehomed into a real sanctuary instead. Scotland just made it an actual law that period products are free, so you can walk into any school, college, or public building there and you can grab whatever you need without any questions asked. In Canada, they have dog buses now. Okay. They're saying that a service literally pulls up to your house, grabs your dog, and takes them out for an entire day of hikes and adventures while you're at work. In Seoul, if you're a woman walking home late at night, you can request a team that meets you right at the subway stop and walks you all the way to your front door. They actually started this just so people could actually feel safe whenever getting home. In Germany, instead of just sitting in a cell, people in prison can now officially train for real trade like cook, carpenter, or mechanic, so they can walk out with an actual job skill. None of this even made the news, like it never does, next to all the bad stuff we see every day.
That's literally good news.
Yes, that is very good news. Especially that part about the dogs in Canada. Every time I go Canada, everybody, there are tons of people with dogs, you know.
Yeah.
And you could literally go anywhere with your dog, you know. Walk into any place with your dog, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? It's an amazing thing. One of these days I'll own a dog again.
I like the facility for the free period products, because you have what is called, do they call it period poverty? But some people can't even afford period products.
Yes, it's called.
And I mean in developed countries too. And so I find things like that should really be free.
Yep.
Have some way of getting it free, and so maybe it's something that Trinidad and Tobago could look at. I don't know who I'm talking to that will even think about that, because
But the people who build in the Aranguez facility, that's a good start.
No, but this seemed state. Because they said colleges and schools and public buildings. So obviously there is some level of state involvement in it.
Yeah.
Every time I see those things, I realize more and more how behind the curve Trinidad and Tobago is getting. I don't mind all this we developing and we come far, but trust me, we should be plenty further up the road.
Anyway, let's greet the folks in the chat. Richard, Kenny and Harlem came in first at 12:19. John Cato also says it's a privilege to see another day on terra firma. Odell Guy, Trinman says happy Thursday morning, pleasant Thursday morning. Suzanne Jessup is sending birthday greetings to her sister Corinne, and love always from her children Donna and Joshua, her sisters Karen, Suzette, Suzanne, all her brothers, good friends, Mrs. Gemma, Maria S, Maria H. God's blessing. So happy birthday, Corinne.
Let me interrupt here and say a big, wonderful happy birthday to my niece, Nerisse Darbo, Dr. Nerisse Darbo. Let me correct myself. And say a big happy birthday to you. I don't know if you're listening, but happy birthday. Mwah.
All right, that's coming from Uncle Richard. Anne Noel says, good morning from Oshawa, Ontario. Manuela Peters, Margaret Thomas, Eunice Dublin, Pamela O'Connor, Diane Payne, Marlene Saunders Sobers, Empress Reyes Lal is also saying Merry Christmas, everyone, as we also celebrated National Vanilla Ice Cream Day. Is that so? National Gorgeous Grandma Day, International...
Who's celebrating that?
The Empress Reyes Lal.
Okay.
She say International Yada 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 Day. All of that, National Sprinkle Day. Okay. Well, look at that. Brenda Joseph, good morning, everyone. I would also like to send out birthday wishes to my son, Sheldon Fabian. Yes, my birthday was yesterday and his own is today. Beautiful. Happy birthday, Sheldon. Coming from your mommy, Brenda, and of course from all of us on the breakfast show.
Yeah, that's a beautiful family.
Yeah. Carol, we met Brenda, didn't we?
Yeah. And the family came down.
Yes, they came down to Rumbox.
Yes, see family doing things,
Yes. Carol Guevara, good morning, Sherwin and Juliet Kerr, Marlon Motley from North Valsayn.
Good morning, Marlon.
Apollina's says good morning. It's Apollina's birthday today too. Apollina says male or female, we don't know, Good to see another year of birthday blessings. Please wish me happy birthday. Of course, we wishing you happy birthday, Apollina.
Yeah, Apollina's.
Happy 83rd. Yeah, happy 83rd birthday, Apollina's. I know you, and that will encourage you to put your name, who you are and your age in the chat. Happy 83rd birthday, Apollina's. Robert Taylor, well, he's trying to say good morning. 6 hours to drive and pick up our wife in an airport, That
is love.
Robert, buy a ticket for the woman to come across now. My God. Pressure. Debbie Modest, good morning, guys. Paul. Deborah Noel Serret, Michael Eastman Hill, Benj, morning, Hillary. Arlene Lois, Ingrid from Tucson, Arizona, morning. Well, very good early morning, Miss Ingrid. Felix Cazo, Ian Stewart, Ron DeSantis Jr., and Irie Christmas. Yeah, that's what they say. Yeah? There's a tune. Who sang that? Jacob Miller.
Yeah.
Right. Valerie Mendoza, good morning to everyone. Happy birthday to Kenneth Surratt, the Executive Officer of the Blind Welfare. Happy birthday, Mr. Surratt.
Happy birthday, Mr. Surratt.
Yeah, we've interviewed him. Ian Stewart, we celebrate Haile Selassie's birthday. Doreen Pierre, Margarita Chow, Doreen Pierre also saying good morning. Alistair Hart, Gary Aboud spoke about, he asked for help from the government, but nothing happened. What's that about, Alistair? Not sure. Wayne Ramsey, good morning. Lester Cragwell, CPT Singh from Caroni East. Prabha Ramdial, Carla Hercules, Sankofa also says blessings. Kurt Hope out there in Nashville, Tennessee. David Wares, of course, I read this message earlier on. Morning, David. Wilfred Roberts, I also read his message. Merle McCormy, good morning. People have a great day. Ila Rizan, that's Nazir Ali. Melchizedek, Dean Allen, yeah, but 90% of Trinidadians can't afford private care. You'd be surprised that's how many people use those private hospitals, and that's why they have been improving. That's why they couldn't do what they're doing if they were not getting customers. Gavin Frank from Powder Magazine, good morning. Alistair Hart, Barry, what's that about? Dean Allen, 4-day stay in private hospital in Trinidad typically costs between $15,000 and $40,000 for standard medical admissions, but can easily exceed. Yeah, and people are doing it. Trust me. Boy VDC from Debe, Mrs. R says, good morning. Wendell, we need a hospital near Piaco. Well, that's what Mount Hope was all about too, eh? Not so? Because of its proximity to Piaco. I think so. Apollina says, Wendell, I'm only woman to your 83-year-old woman. All right, happy birthday, Apollina. I just teased it, eh? Red Fire, peace to the gods, U2545. Hi, everyone. That's brand new. That's a brand new person or somebody changed their handle. Alistair, okay, yes. Yeah, Sir Charles said that. One of them died, the fisherman who was. So those are the reasons.
No, he's talking about that's what Gary Abood was asking the government to assist.
Okay.
I assume that's what he means, yeah.
All right. Apollonius is 72 today. You see, I wasn't so far.
You're very calm. I think 11 years, Wendell.
I 20 years, Wendell.
11 years is nothing now between people.
Yeah. So all children who are 11 years old are nothing.
No, I'm saying 11 years is no big age difference now in this day and age.
You're talking about something else.
He's always talking something else.
I swear you know too much of my business. I don't find a way around that.
Always talking something else. Anyhow, let me say good morning to the people on the WhatsApp. Wendell, you finished there, right?
Yes, I'm done.
All right. So coming in early this morning was Carlin and Kelly out of Carenage. Also to Mr. Billy was here very early. Archbishop Ashton Clark, Canada people, good day to you. Kent in Laventel, Mr. Augustine, good morning. CJ in New York, Captain Ron in Orlando, Frank out there in Aruka, Mr. Beeps in Pity Valley, Peter Wilson in St. James, Rena Budo Jennings in Pity Valley also. And of course, let me say good morning to Terry and Peters and the folks out there in Mova. 22 minutes before the hour of 7 o'clock, and always keeping you in check with time. And when we come back, we'll see what's happening and what is trending in the newspapers. Stay with us. This is The Breakfast Show.
S&H Rumbox, 137 Western Main Road, St. James, for all your retail and wholesale needs for alcohol and non-alcoholic beverages. Call us at 686-0599 or visit us at 137 Western Main Road, St. James. S&H Rumbox, drinking out of the box.
Flavor Entertainment Services, your one-stop premium entertainment service provider. We offer top-tier, best-in-class karaoke and DJ services for your private events, sports bars and lounge. Let us help make your birthday parties, weddings, anniversaries, and corporate special events memorable and special. Call us now at 462-2029. We provide more than just music. We create memories that last.
All aboard!
Calling all you NETT Radio listeners and fans. It's time to pack your cooler, gather your crews. Join us for NETT Radio Halloween Cooler Crew in red, white, and black. On board the luxurious Island Royalty, Saturday, 15th of August, boarding at 7 p.m. from Hardcuts, Shagaramas. We sail at 8 p.m. sharp. Enjoy great music all night long from your favorite NETT DJs, Sir Charles, CJ, Mr. Flavor, Doc International, RJ, and Fluffman.
Tell you you's a big dancer. Come show
Early bird tickets are just $200, after $250. Get your tickets now at Crosby in St. James, Rumbox, St. James, Bobby's Bar in Crep, Fats International in Arima, K Square Fashions at C3 Center, West Mall, and Eastgate Mall. store and all net DJs. No glass bottles allowed. Bring your coolers, bring your crews, and let's celebrate together. Net Radio, Halloween, Hula Crew. Saturday, August the 15th, aboard the Island Royalty. For information, call 638-2609 or 497-7173. Halloween, on the scene.
Before I get into the newspapers, the Express, I have a little rant. I don't know, many of you all maybe also having this issue. But FCB First Citizens recently changed their online platform. And let me tell you something, it's the most stressful thing. One of the most stressful things you could probably try to get on to. Why are these banks making it so very difficult for people to get access to their own information online? It's better I go in and stand up in a line and wait for it to tell me everything. Because the whole purpose of the online platform is to avoid you coming into the bank, right? But let me tell you something, the amount of hoops and walls you have to jump over just to sign up, just to get onto the new platform, it is stressful. For Citizens Bank, why and most of the banks now, why is it necessary for your password to have an uppercase letter, a special character letter, and must be 16 letters long? Why? Well, if I want my password to be the number 1, why can't it be that? Why I must add things just to satisfy you on your password request? It is annoying. I gave up yesterday. I eventually got through to FCB online thing, right? But I don't know that I could be using that. Better I pick up a phone and call somebody who I know in the bank or go into the bank and stand up. It's too much headache. Too much headache. I don't understand that new platform at all, FCB. It is impossible. And you're the state bank, and almost everybody, 3/4 of this place banking with FCB. And it's just annoying, man. All you're gonna find a lot more people coming into the banks now, FCB, because of that platform that you all come up with. Right, that's my rant.
Okay. Headline.
Rescued today, of course, is July 23rd, 2026. Rescued fisherman dies after 8-day sea ordeal. We spoke about that earlier on, so Charles spoke about it. Apparently, it was the captain of the boat. Intruder killed, another arrested after attempted robbery, and I think this was the house invasion in the gated community. Soldier with TNT roots among U.S. war dead. Sir Charles also spoke about that earlier on. And still behind bars, Hadid's launch fresh court fight. Apparently, another matter is coming up before the Court of Appeal today concerning the Hadids. I swear we are going to give not just people just blue water, we will give them black water, green water, yellow water, red water, and that. They go open branches all over the place. Anyway, those are some of the main stories trending in of course, today's Express. All right?
All right, the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian for this morning. Trini fisherman dies at sea, 1 crewmate critical, 4 others rescued after MV St. Vincent 7 V11 sinks off Southern Caribbean. So that's the main story. Death toll in Ghana, boating tragedy rises to 65. Parents celebrate daughter's SEA success. Alexander says SOE tribunal breached his rights to be heard. Appeal court to hear Hadid appeal today. Tourism Trinidad gets new board. West Indian traders would consider buying Nestle plant. TNT Stock Exchange investor confidence returning. And the business of football. All of that is in the business side of things. And in government mourns U.S. service member with Trinidad and Tobago heritage. Lennox creates history with 14-wicket haul against Windies between grief and glory sports bittersweet weekend. Hetmeyer, Rutherford lead West Indies to consolation victory in series final, and Sammy resigned to fact that Wendy's will have to go through qualifiers. All of that is some sports business and trending news in the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian this morning.
You know, for the folks who think that all these new things are to prevent hackers, I don't know if all you know, hackers will take the time and the trouble to hack your account. You know, there was a man who lost $1 million just recently in an online transaction. You understand? Hackers, that is their work. You know, they will do it. You know, and a lot of them have connections that we, the ordinary person, won't have. You know, so trying to put all these set of things in the way. Hackers, that is the work. All you're doing is getting the people who design to use these platforms more frustrated. That's all it's doing.
No, but it's necessary sometimes, because I mean, if you don't put things in place to prevent hackers or things like that, every morning you have to be compensating somebody for the money they lost. You know?
Yeah, but I'm saying to Charles is that at the end of the day, it don't prevent them. You know, it might get them a little extra work.
Yeah, but
it don't prevent them. You know.
Yeah, but the banks have to do what they have to do to try and preserve your money and them, you know, from these.
Yeah, but the login credentials to Charles. You ever see the login credentials for some of these things?
Yeah.
It's about 15 numbers, 16 numbers. You can't memorize that.
No,
you gotta take a picture and keep that.
Yeah, no, you have to put it somewhere where you could where
the non-hacker could find it.
No, well, all that too. But you put it in certain places where you could find it. I can't remember. Look, I first said this one is 13 numbers. I can't remember that.
And your password is 16. And you must have an uppercase and you must have a special character.
Yeah. Thank God for fingerprint, because I'm telling you, with mobile banking, if I didn't have fingerprint, I can't remember the passcode every minute. But it's just a matter of setting it up. You know, once you set it up, you're all right.
Yeah, but you have to set it up. You have to take a picture going along the way. You have to take pictures going along the way and setting it up. Mm-hmm. Because as I'm telling you, that new platform that FCB has, I mean, it's real snazzy when you open it up, but it is hell to get into.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to get accustomed to it, man. Time you do it once or twice, you'll be all right. You know, familiarity.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. You have to stay with the times, you know.
No, well, I with the times, you know. That's why I do.
I'm not a part of First Citizen, so I don't know it that well.
I think the easiest out of all of them is Royal Bank. Honestly, I believe Royal Bank is the easiest out of all of them to deal with. And I've never had an issue with Royal Bank.
Royal Bank is not bad. Scotia is not bad either.
Republic Bank could be a little tricky, especially with the credit card. Credit card separate to your normal, your US part of it, separate to your TT part of it. It's always confusing. You understand? Because it doesn't automatically pay your US part of it. You have to actually go into the US part to pay US if you have balances. And you know that's where they make the money, right? Because the longer you take to pay that US part, the more that interest builds. So you could have excess money in your TT part, but owing on your US part, your interest running, brother. They ain't taking the excess from the TT part to help your US.
Yeah.
They don't do it automatically, you know.
Yeah, it's a kind of clumsy approach, even though they say it's to your benefit, but it's kind of still clumsy from a consumer point of view. If I had to give the edge, I would probably give the edge. I mean, Republic Bank, I think, is fairly easy, but I may give the edge to Scotia. Scotia is a little seamless, a little more seamless.
Yes, Scotia is.
I've never used Scotia.
In terms of
I've
your
never
online.
used Scotia.
Yeah. It was real pressure to set up RBC online. But, oh, good.
Well, RBC, now, as I say, you could go with a check to deposit and they're taking a picture of the check. The machine takes the actual check. You don't have to use envelopes at all at Royal Banks now, at most of them.
Well, Scotia is like that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're still waiting for Republic Bank. Scotia has managed to change out all of its machines rapidly across the country. Now, maybe Republic Bank has more branches. I don't know. But Republic Bank, in changing out those old machines to new machines, is tediously slow. And it's not clear to me whether those new machines could do deposits without, Republic Bank is famous for the envelopes. You envelope, and sometimes it's that there are no envelopes, and it's a bacchanal. People want envelopes to do deposits. Of course, with Scotia, and I assume with RBC, you could just deposit the money directly once the draw opens. You don't have to have an envelope.
Yeah.
Now, that creates a problem with Scotiabank's machines because so many people are depositing because you're not allowed to go into the bank and deposit. So if I had to give a criticism to Scotiabank, I would say tweak your deposit platform to make it faster. Because you have so much, sometimes you have people that are doing endless deposits. They're doing multiple deposits and they keep back the line. And the line is just waiting, because we know you're doing deposits, but it's taking time because each deposit goes through a kind of cycle. So it takes a little time. So they need to find the technology to speed up the deposit part of it. Right. Because a lot of people go into deposits. And what happens too, I don't know if the deposit gets filled. So you may go into Arima, for example, and let's say there are like 5 or 6 machines in Arima for Scotiabank. Which is also what's nice about Scotiabank too. They have multiple machines. So in Arima, there are about 5 machines. But if you go like on a weekend, on a Sunday, I just give an example. None of them machines accepting deposits, because deposits full. People are depositing money. And so you have people hopping machines and people will tell you, no, if you're going on the deposit, forget it. None of them here, or they will tell you one time. People doing withdrawals, it's fine. But deposits is a big deal because a lot of people have to use the machine to deposit now.
Yeah.
So
the next thing too, I wanted to raise was the issue of I don't know.
Hold on, don't raise nothing.
One thing. Let me do it quickly, Peter.
Don't raise nothing else again. Let me do it, All
right.
Do you know about the black soldiers the U.S. Army executed, only to admit 106 years later that they had never received a fair trial? They were known as the Buffalo Soldiers. In the summer of 1917, members of the 3rd Battalion of the 24th Infantry Regiment were sent to Camp Logan near Houston, Texas. America had entered World War I. The soldiers were preparing for war, but before they could fight for their country overseas, they found themselves fighting racism at home. Houston was deeply segregated under Jim Crow laws. Black soldiers were regularly insulted, threatened, and harassed by white civilians and police officers. Then everything exploded. On August 23, 1917, Houston police violently arrested and beat a black woman named Sarah Travers after entering her home while searching for a suspect. When Corporal Charles Baltimore, a black soldier, asked what had happened, he too was beaten, arrested, and humiliated by police. Rumors quickly spread through Camp Logan. Many soldiers believed Baltimore had been killed. That night, more than 100 black soldiers seized their rifles and marched toward Houston. Gunfire erupted across the city. By sunrise, 19 people were dead, including civilians, police officers, and soldiers. The nation was shocked. The army demanded justice. But ask yourself this: could black soldiers expect a fair trial in Jim Crow America? The answer would change history. The Army placed 118 soldiers on trial in what became the largest murder trial and one of the largest courts-martial proceedings in American history. Many of the accused had no meaningful opportunity to defend themselves. Some shared legal representation. There was no meaningful appeal before the first executions. Then came the verdicts. 110 black soldiers were convicted. 19 were sentenced to death. On December 11, 1917, the first 13 soldiers were secretly hanged at Fort Sam Houston in Texas. They were executed just one day after their sentences were approved. The executions were carried out so quickly that even President Woodrow Wilson had not reviewed the cases. The Army later changed its own rules so future military executions could not happen without higher-level review. But it was already too late for those men. Years became decades. The soldiers were remembered as criminals. Their families lived with that stigma for more than a century. Then something remarkable happened. Legal historians and researchers re-examined the trials. They found serious problems with how the cases had been handled. Finally, on November 13, 2023, 106 years after the Houston riot, the U.S. Army officially set aside the convictions of all 110 soldiers. Army Secretary Christine Wormuth acknowledged they had been wrongly treated because of their race and had not received fair trials. Their military service was restored as honorable to the extent possible. Justice did not come in their lifetime. It came more than a century later. Their story reminds us that correcting history can take generations. But even when justice comes late, the truth still matters. If this is your first time hearing about the Buffalo Soldiers of Camp Logan, comment first time. This is Hystera.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But Marley sang about it, the Buffalo Soldiers.
Yeah. That was very well. All Bob Marley tunes were popular, but that was a very popular one too.
Yeah.
You know?
It's tragic.
Mm.
That's a tragic story.
Mm. Yeah.
You know, the injustice of man to man is, which is what Bob Marley sings about too.
Mm-hmm.
Man's injustice to man is something that still happens in today's world, and even right here in Trinidad.
It's worse now, eh? You think it'll get better, eh?
Humanity, you would think in an information age, and as we progress technologically, that things would be more, the planet will become more peaceful, but it's become more violent and more hateful. In so many worlds, so many people are more intolerant about stuff. I don't know, they'll explore this period in mankind's history with astonishment. Yeah.
Anyway, we can open up the lines, but this was what I wanted to say too. I think the time has come to to do away with the $1 note. I don't know if you all know, most of Europe, I don't know if America still has a $1 note, but most of Europe don't use a note, they use a coin for the $1. Yeah, at least most of the places I've visited, they use a coin. They don't have a $1 note at all. And maybe it's time we do away with that $1 note, because that also contributes to packing up machines and whatnot, Because there are people who are hustling, doing the little hustle, nuts vendors on the whole, who gather a lot of dollars. And those things pile up, it make it look like if you have a whole pile of money when you only have about $200, You know what I mean? They need to do away with the $1 note, in my humble opinion. And for the people who ask me to bring back a $1 note for them, it don't have $1 notes out there by when. It's a coin.
All right, we'll be taking a couple of your calls to 811-315-299-5156, and just now we'll get into the morning poll. So, caller, good morning, front and center. Let's go.
North Virginia, morning. Very quickly, the Buffalo Soldiers were way before that. Actually, the Indians were the soldiers who served the Union Army, the black soldiers. They got the name Buffalo Soldiers because the Indians, because of the texture of their hair, related them to the buffaloes. And one thing I want to say, so Charles, biometrics, you said you use your thumbprint and stuff, right? I won't worry with that too much, but anything like that can be replicated. I never use any of my biometrics. Even when I checked into a hotel for work, and we didn't know, because of what you do and stuff like that. Some of these hotels, they use biometrics. I realized, wait a minute, I don't want to slash my car to open the door. What's this? I don't want your thumbprint. I checked out. Use another hotel. But
why though? Why do you think your thumbprint?
It's a pain in the butt. But go ahead and do that long password. Believe me. Yeah, what's that?
All right. But why do you think your thumbprint could be replicated?
Remember, it's an image, right? And hackers, more and more, and they've infiltrated every agency. I mean, when you have high government officials, like, for example, working with the IRS and Department of Treasury and whatever country you're in, right? But we had a IRS official actually leave his blame laptop, which he shouldn't have, in the trunk of his car. Well, guess what? They went in there and they got that. And millions of individuals' information, or hundreds of thousands, whatever, get in the wrong hands. So
yeah, you can't be careless like
as
that.
much as you can to protect yourself. I don't do biometrics. I wouldn't recommend that. Okay, take care, guys.
Yeah.
Cheers.
All right. And if you happen to go in a hotel and you're leaving your laptop there, leave it open. Don't close it. Leave it open. They will always be mindful that laptop is looking at them. Because people have caught people in hotels like that too. You understand? Don't leave it closed. But you shouldn't leave it out anyway. if you're going to a hotel and you're using a laptop, or don't leave it out anyway. Yeah. All right, but our poll is up to, folks. Do you agree with the Prime Minister that crime has gone down under the UNC? The Prime Minister made that bold claim the other day. Yesterday, I know Scorpion Pepper was on the chat asking where were the statistics for it. So she has made a claim that crime has gone down under the UNC. Do you agree with that? Yes or no? That's our poll today. All right, if you're voting yes, you vote 1. If you're voting no, you vote 2. All right? People have already started to vote. And good morning to all the other chatters who have joined us since we first greeted the first set. All right?
Okay.
Charles?
Yeah, hold on, right here.
Okay. I know you're prepared to leave, aren't you?
Yeah, besides that too, I remember to start the poll. All right, yeah. News.
The news you need, the clarity you deserve. Local, regional, global. This is NETT Radio News Now.
This is News Now on NETT Radio and Guile TV. I am Derek McMillan. Thank you for joining us. NCRHA Chairman Dr. Tim Gopising has dismissed as false and misleading claims by the Trinidad and Tobago National Nursing Association that the authority has implemented an illegal 4-hour shift system for nurses and midwives. TTNNA President Edie Stewart alleged that hundreds of nursing and midwifery personnel were being placed on 4-hour shifts without prior notice, consultation, or agreement, at a time when the NCRHA was facing a severe staffing shortage. Stewart said the association was reviewing the legality of the arrangement and preparing possible legal action, arguing that employers cannot unilaterally change established conditions of service. Gopising declined further comment, saying he would not respond to what he described as repetitive false statements. Prime Minister Kamla Persad Bissessar says police CompStat data show there have been 118 fewer murders in Trinidad and Tobago this year compared with the same period in 2024 under the former People's National Movement administration. In a social media post, Persad Bissessar said murders fell from 331 between January 1st and July 20th, 2024, to 213 during the same period in 2026, a decline of about 36%. She also claimed that based on previous murder trends, approximately 400 fewer people have been killed during 2025 and 2026 combined than would have been projected under the PNM. The Prime Minister said all police divisions recorded reductions when compared with 2024, with the largest declines in Port of Spain, Central, Western, and Eastern divisions. A U.S. Army sergeant of Trinidad and Tobago heritage who was reported missing after an Iranian attack on a U.S. military base in Jordan has been confirmed dead. The Pentagon identified Sergeant Angel Sarah Rampersad, 28, of New York, as the fourth American service member believed killed in the July 17th attack on Muwafaq Salti Air Base. Rampersad, who served with the Germany-based 1st Battalion, 57th Air Defense Artillery Regiment, had initially been listed as missing before her status was changed to believed to be deceased. The Trinidad and Tobago government expressed condolences, noting that Rampersad's father is a Trinidad and Tobago national. Foreign Affairs Minister Sean Sobers has spoken with her father, and officials from the Consulate General in New York visited the family to offer support. Residents of the Les Jardines townhouse complex in Curapo have praised police for their rapid response to a home invasion that ended with one suspect dead and another arrested. Police said 4 masked men armed with guns, knives, and a cutlass entered a townhouse on Monday morning and robbed 3 women of jewelry, cash, and a cell phone. After residents sounded air horns and alerted police, officers launched a large-scale search operation. One suspect was arrested, while another, identified as Shaquem Gabriel, was later found in an abandoned building. Investigators said Gabriel pointed a firearm at officers and opened fire, prompting police to return fire. He was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. 2 other suspects remain at large, while the Police Complaints Authority has launched an investigation into the fatal shooting. In regional news, All 6 crew members aboard the fishing vessel St. Vincent 7 have been rescued alive after days in distress at sea, following a coordinated operation involving a commercial ship and the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard. The Ministry of Defense said the crew of the MV Marvel Kite spotted the missing vessel about 349 nautical miles east of Galeota, while en route to the United States, and altered course to investigate. All 6 fishermen were found on board and were reported to be in reasonably good health, with no serious injuries. A Coast Guard vessel was dispatched to rendezvous with the commercial ship and transport the fishermen safely back to Trinidad and Tobago. Defense Minister Wayne Sturge thanked the crew of the MV Marvel Kite for their assistance in the rescue. Finally, an Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo has killed at least 999 people, according to the country's health ministry, making it the fastest Ebola outbreak in history. Officials said 2,473 cases have been recorded since the outbreak was declared on May 15th, with 737 patients currently in isolation or receiving hospital treatment. The outbreak is caused by the Bundibugyo virus, for which there are no approved vaccines or treatments. Health authorities have warned that 80% of new infections are coming from unknown chains of transmission, making it increasingly difficult to track and contain the spread. The epidemic has spread from Ituri province into 4 other provinces, while attacks on health facilities and unpaid health workers have further complicated the response. Africa CDC has urged intensified international efforts to prevent the outbreak from becoming one of the worst ever documented. And that is NETT Radio News at this time.
That was news now. Stay informed with New Era TT Radio. NETT Radio.
Your mid-morning just got better. Join Sir Charles for the mid-morning mix and mingle, where good music, real talk, health, and family matters come together, and your voice is heard. Whether you're at work, on the go, or just taking a break, this is the perfect mix to keep you engaged, informed, and entertained. The mid-morning mix and mingle, weekdays, 9 a.m. to 12 noon on New Era TT Radio, NETT Radio.
That will do. Cool.
Tis the season to be jolly. La 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 la. Dawn we now our new appeal. Tra la 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 la. Deck the halls with boughs of holly. Tra la 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 la.
Love is not a time sweet. You want something to play? Get a simple time. Christmas is coming. Santa Claus is getting fun. Jump up in the hill, the whole man hot. Let me hear you say, Christmas is coming and the Claus is getting fun. Some say that you must try to jump up in the hill, the whole man hot. And I don't you think fun down, but Christmas coming. Some say that the Christmas is coming. Gather round, read down the honor. Let me take you on the end and lead you to the land. So that don't
synergy. This is the NETT Radio Breakfast Show. Calling all you NETT Radio listeners and fans. It's time to pack your cooler, gather your crews. Join us on NETT Radio. NETT Radio Color Week. Cooler Crew in red, white, and black. On board the luxurious Island Royalty, Saturday, 15th of August, boarding at 7 p.m. from Hardcuts, Shagaramas. We sail at 8 p.m. sharp. Enjoy great music all night long from your favorite NETT DJs, Sir Charles, CJ, Mr. Flavor, Doc International, RJ, and Fluffman.
Tell you you's a big dancer. Come show
Early
them who's a
bird
big
tickets
dancer.
are just $200. After $250. Get your tickets now at Crosby in St. James, Rumba, St. James, Bobby's Bar in Crep, Pats International in Arima, K Square Fashions at C3 Center, West Mall, and Eastgate Small, and all NETT DJs. No glass bottles allowed. Bring your coolers, bring your crews, and let's celebrate together. NETT Radio, NETT Radio, Halloween, Cooler Crew. Saturday, August the 15th, aboard the Island Royalty. For information, call 638-2609 or 497-7173. Color Week on the sea. Flavor Entertainment Services, your one-stop premium entertainment service provider. We offer top-tier, best-in-class karaoke and DJ services for your private events, sports bars and lounge. Let us help make your birthday parties, weddings, anniversaries, and corporate special events memorable and special. Call us now at 462-2029. We provide more than just music. We create memories that last.
S&H Rumbox, 137 Western Main Road, St. James, for all your retail and wholesale needs for alcohol and non-alcoholic beverages. Call us at 686-0599 or visit us at 137 Western Main Road, St. James. S&H Rumbox, drinking out of the box.
All right, so we are back after the 7 o'clock news. And of course, I guess Peter is on at this point, I am assuming.
Peter, wait.
Good morning, Peter.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning.
Morning, Peter. You're up? You're up and about?
Yep.
All right, good. Of course, our poll is still running, people. If you could just put it back up there for us so we could get some more votes on it. Do you agree with the Prime Minister that crime has gone down under the UNC? That's our poll for today. If you're voting yes, you vote 1. And if you're voting no, you vote 2. We can take some more votes and, of course, some calls. Not so, Richard?
Yep.
Yeah.
There's some calls on the poll itself. So 281-1315, 281-1315, and 299-5156, 299-5156. We should have these numbers saved by now. But 281-1315, 281-1315. We could take some of your calls at this point before we give you the results of the poll. Our poll this morning, just in case you're listening and not watching the screen, do you agree with the Prime Minister that crime has gone down under the UNC? Do you agree with the Prime Minister that crime has gone down under the UNC? That's our poll this morning. If you're voting on our platform, you put 1 for yes and 2 for no. The platform automatically calibrates and gives us the results. So vote. If you're voting yes, you vote 1. Simply type the number 1. That's all you have to do. If you're voting no, you don't agree, then you just type 2. That's all you need to do. All right. Any calls coming in there, Peter?
Not at the moment, no.
All right. But so we're taking some of your calls, 281-1315, 281-1315, on the polls specifically at this point. If we get no calls within the next minute or a couple of minutes or so, we'll just go straight to the results.
Yeah, well, we're getting lots of votes on the chat. Votes coming in on the chat now. So a lot of people are also commenting. Let me see where I could find a comment. So Dina Allen is saying, so what happens at the end of the SOE? That's why I'll expect the UNC to push the SOE to the general elections, or at least try hard. I can't see them. Well, I mean, the UNC doing what they want, right? But to do an SOE straight after an election for 5 years straight, I don't know that. Anyway, BP Trinidad Trinbago says, this is a new name, statistics can be deceiving. A better poll question would be, do you feel safer and more secure with the data showing that crime is down? Well, did they present data showing that crime is down? Maybe they did.
The TTPS did. So that murders are down by 7, I think. Yeah.
So if it was 207 now,
period last year, for the corresponding period.
Right. So if it was 207 last year, it's 200 this year.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Is that the kind of thinking?
Well, that's the data. It's not thinking.
Okay. All right. Well, I agree. I agree with the part that do you feel safer? Because I mean but that one would be corrupt. That one would be all no BP.
But you can decide that, so.
Richard, you really think, despite the statistics, that people are feeling safer in Trinidad and Tobago?
I think that you can't decide that. That's what I'm saying. You can't decide it will be all no.
We do have one caller on the line.
Let's take the call. Lincoln, good morning.
Morning.
Morning. It's not Lincoln.
It's not Lincoln.
Go ahead, caller.
Yeah. Wendell Stallman. Wendell.
Hi.
I'm Richard. How safe can one be when an innocent man going to a gas station and get his head blown off, pumping gas? It could happen to any one of us. When I think of the scenario, it could have been me, because I was right down on my side in Mobile by the old St. Joseph Road and the MP gas station there on the main road. So it could have happened to me. I was go there every living day and to the gas, right? So how safer? I mean, I wish these politicians stop in the UNC, stop massage the ego, right? And stop playing with figures and statistics. And because it is impossible to think that you willing to carry this country for 5 years, state of emergency, SOE, a PDO, for 5 years, just to go up on the campaign trail to say, I see the carry on crime. You see, but you take away my freedom for 5 years. This is total madness. And it's not to say that crime is reduced in a normal scenario where we have our full rights and freedom, when we could move and have our being. It is, we are under siege. Our rights are being taken away. This is not normal. It's not normal living. So you're using not normal living. You're holding the country prisoners, and then say on the other hand, you see, we carry on crime. And the price of freedom? You're incarcerating me mentally to tell me, you to give me some kind of physical freedom, which not even happening because people had them blow off my gas station. I can't be me. I mean, let me get Rina, man. Morning.
Yeah. Thanks, caller. Thanks, man. Yeah, that's, I mean, to ask a question, do you feel safer? I don't know that anybody will be feeling safer. You understand? And morning, Gary Griffith, because he had sent me some, apparently TV6 had asked a similar poll. I didn't see that. Where do you agree with the Prime Minister that TNT is now a safer place? So and yes was 3%, and no was 97%. You know? But if you ask people if they feel safer, I think the no's will go up to 100. You know? Because of all the other incidents that are taking place throughout the country. And because they have absolutely zero confidence in the TTPS. Maybe that also is another poll. Do you have any confidence in the TTPS? Any?
We do have another call on the line.
Yeah.
Oh, good morning.
Hey, hi, Wendell. Richard.
Morning.
Good morning, Dean.
The announcer. Yeah, no, what I was saying, Wendell, is right. On one hand, obviously during the stats and the PDOs, the crime will come down, the stats will come down. It will look that way. But then on the other hand, right, expanding on what the last caller was saying, you're holding people on PDOs, and that's your strategy to starve the criminal out of their job. You're taking the peoples of interest, you're holding them against it, you have no evidence, you have no this. So at the end of an SCOE, naturally these people will have to be released. You have nothing to think. Maybe when they go back into their community, the fellas, they have to bring back and reorganize. And I think that's their strategy. Starve them out, hold you at bay, hold the leadership at bay, and put them down. So they say, we have so many leaders on the PDOs, but you have no evidence. You're not breaking. You're not telling me that you're cracking any gang. You're not starving the young fellas from the pipeline from school to gangs. You're not cutting that. You're not telling me anything has been dismantled. What it is, for most we could know, it is at bay. It's just at rest. No guns held. They can't even find the guns that went missing from the thing. So all the guns are there, under hidden, who having it, rubbing it down with oil, maintaining it, just waiting to crack fire when all this thing. So strategy. Yeah, the strategy that the UNC will have, or the Prime Minister, to push the SOE as far as they can, because they have no other strategy. You know, the argument will be for them to push it as far as they can, because this is what she is using to say, I have brought crime down. And, and we heard what she's saying, and she wants to continue to say that. She has no other recourse but to push the SOE, because the police ain't telling us no other thing about. If I could hear from the commissioner, and then to say, yeah, out of the 200 gangs, we know we down to 50. All the other fellas now find work in the warehouse. Them fellas living a different kind of life, gang work, which they have done in other countries where you have seen, to starve the gangs. They channel them into other kind of directions, where they say, okay, this thing ain't really working out for me. They find work, and they push them into new thing. Finally, ain't that. So until this thing is just at bay, everything is just like a little fence they put up, and that fence have to stop at something. And I think they have to put it onto someone else. So if you're going to lose the election next time, then the other person who coming in will have to say, look, I tell all you. You see, under us, it was low. Now, under them, it's out of control.
Yeah. Good point, Dean. I'll tell you something. I don't know if you all read this. I'm sure I read this or heard this somewhere. That a lady, was held recently under a PDO, and she has been accused of the person who has been hiding or whatever, or in possession of these guns that went missing, apparently from the police station where the officer was killed. You all saw that? But she has not been charged.
No, I didn't see that.
I'm saying, what then is the connection? What if you have evidence? And that's why I'm concerned about police intelligence, If you have intelligence that this is the young lady, she is part and parcel of that whole guns. I don't know that all the guns have been recovered, have they? I don't think so.
Some of them have been recovered. I don't know that it's all.
Right. So months later, we have have detained someone under a PDO in connection with those guns that went missing. I'm confused because the person has not been charged. No extra guns have been recovered. So I'm wondering, what is the purpose of that being made, putting out there in the public domain? I'm lost. I'm lost. It's almost like if somebody report to the police now that this one involved in that, I feel that person know about this enough. Get a PDO, let the minister sign it. Of course, the minister glance at it, see under the hand of the commissioner, sign that for me, all you. You understand? My handwriting is so good today. And that's it. And a PDO going out for somebody based on somebody saying something about a person. To me, that is outside of the police coming to me and telling us exactly how they arrived at this person. Then that's how we had to guess that these PDOs operating by.
Well, if it is that you have evidence that's, as I always say, that is robust, then you should charge.
Yeah.
But once you charge, I think their thing is, once they charge, this is how they're thinking. At least I am thinking this is how they're thinking. Once you charge, the person goes before the court system and they can get bail.
Well, and is not how a democracy is run?
That's how our system operates.
Yeah.
Our system has not envisaged that you are detained without charge. That's not the modus operandi in democracies. But it's whittled away because of the SOE. They have that leverage to use prevention detention orders without charge that holds you in custody until the end of the state of emergency. But of course, at the end of this current state of emergency, they're required to go back to Parliament and they'll need the requisite majorities, which they may not get because they're going to need independent senators. So it may come to an end and they will use exactly what they did last time. You break for a few days and then you reinstate it. And the president approves and says, yes, I've gotten the evidence that says that there is something up again. And you go back to this emergency, which needs to be challenged. Which is what I said. Which was what I said about this state of emergency, that somebody should have challenged it. And of course, because we don't have civil liberties unions and stuff like that, you should challenge and say, well, look, are you trying to gerrymander the Constitution by trying to avoid the constitutional majorities required if you want to extend a state of emergency beyond the requisite time? And so what you're really doing is like you're breaking a contract and then rehiring so you don't have your obligations. So you're kind of doing that, you're mirroring that and saying, well, I'm just going to break for a few days. And then I'm going to say, yeah, there's something just came up. And the president, says, yeah, something came up in truth, I'm allowing it. And you go through the whole sequence again. That needs to be challenged. And I don't mean it as an anti-UNC thing. I mean it as a constitutional line thing. Because this is not about the UNC, when government becomes a book for future governments. And so you need to draw what the constitutional lines are. What are the parameters? Can you do that? Can you gerrymander with times to avoid constitutional restrictions or constitutional guardrails? And those are the kind of conversations we have to have as a country. Because it's not about the current government, it's about future governments. That may also, well, it's about the current and future governments that may use tools like that unless challenged for a court ruling that says, yes, it's allowable or no, it's not.
Yeah. Yeah, which is, well, and that's why I don't know that the UNC is thinking past the next election. Maybe they're hoping that the country is so, as the first caller said, so mentally incarcerated that you just say to hell with that. Yes, you know what I mean? Is it that that's their thinking? Because as I said, their 18 seats are guaranteed. They know that. They know that.
We do have more callers coming.
Yeah, let's take the calls.
Caller, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Good morning, gentlemen.
Yeah, morning.
I'm confused about something because I'm hearing that the commissioner of police is saying that the murder rate is 7 less But I'm hearing the Prime Minister saying that the murder rate is 130 something less. What could anybody explain that to me?
Well,
unless she's going back to a comparison to the year before they were in office. That's the only explanation. So maybe she's looking at 2024 and saying since we came into office, it has reduced. And now into our second year, it's 135 less. That's the only explanation I can give.
At least you're manipulating the statistics.
Well, it's not manipulating it. It's just manipulating it in a way that what you say. Because if she's saying, if she's comparing it to 2024 statistics, she's not manipulating it. She's just saying in 2024 it was X and now it's Y.
Yeah, we could pull anything out of our hat and say that. We could go back to 1988 and say, well, the murder rate's different from that. We could do that.
Yeah.
Anybody could do that.
Yeah, right. But that's not gerrymandering. That's just comparing data.
But for the, it's selective of what data you're comparing it to.
Well, you see that.
The whole point about
that's what people do.
It is Tarawa state of emergency for 9 months and 7 murders less. 7 murders is just 2 mass shootings, That is not a significant thing to say, well, hey, the strategies we are using working because we have X amount of murders there. 7 murders less. It's just 2 mass shootings in Navantil or Move somewhere, Pinal, wherever the case may be. 2 family dispute.
Well, it's still 7 murders less, Lincoln. Let's not 7 humans not being killed less. It's still something. That's 7 families that are not in trauma. That's 7 people whose lives are still here. So saying that 7 murders less and minimizing it to try to make a point is not fair.
Minimize it.
It's still that it's less.
The inconvenience that we are having, for the inconvenience that Trinidad and Tobago is undergoing, to say that we're doing that for 7 people, for 7 murders, is not a measuring stick.
Well,
right?
They're not only saying the murders, they're saying crimes in other divisions are also down. And other crimes are also down, including home invasions. So it's not just murders they're talking about too. I'm just going on what data they presented. I can't say to the accuracy of their data, but I'm just going on what the TTPS presented. They said home invasions are down and all serious crimes are down.
But I'm looking at that data too, and I'm seeing in 2026, it only had 1 murder in Port of Spain. That I don't keep check like that, but I think I remember a lot more murders happening in Port of Spain than 1 murder in Port of Spain in 2026, as opposed to 20-something last year or something like that. That seems to be a little misleading as far as I am concerned. One last point I would like to mention, there is something that you all spoke about, and it's something that has been on my mind for years. This office of the president, we need to seriously consider closing down that office and saving that $100 and something thousand a month, because all that office seems to be doing is rubber stamping everything that the Prime Minister says. Because I don't understand how a president could sanction 3 state of emergencies. Well, maybe the information that they're giving her is and it's not about her, it's about the office.
I don't think she has they have a choice.
Say that again?
I get the impression they don't have a choice.
But the president still has certain constitutional responsibilities. For example, the appointment of independent senators is totally under the remit of the president. And that's a guardrail that's important in terms of the Legislative Assembly.
Yes, I guess for that reason it's necessary and important. But I am just bewildered at and if this was to happen, what would be the repercussion? If the president says, here, what's going on? This is going on too long. This is making sense. I'm not sanctioning that. What happens in a situation like that?
Well, the president is the commander-in-chief. So if the commander-in-chief says, no, I'm not convinced, it will be the first time that a president has said, no, I don't believe it. So it'd be interesting, you know me, I like things like that. I would like to see what happens because it becomes a constitutional scandal.
The president,
the state will have no issue, but have to go to court.
Oh God, we're all talking at the same time. Yeah, the president is the commander-in-chief of the military, but this state of emergency is primarily being orchestrated by the TTPS. The president doesn't control the TTPS.
Yeah, but the president is the one who calls the state of emergency from an official point of view. So if the president says no, let's go down that road, which is what you're suggesting, to me it raises certain constitutional questions, which I don't mind being being discussed in a court, because I assume then the state, the government will then say, well, let's go to court to let the court interpret whether the president can override the prime minister's recommendation via the TTPS that their state of emergency be called. So it'll make for an interesting arguments in a court. That's where my brain would go.
A new conspiracy theory just entered my mind, gentlemen. And let me just put this out there. Has anyone considered that may be the reason for the Zozo to bypass the president? Should the president decide to not support a SOE in the future, they would have the Zozo as a backup plan, that they don't need the president to
that's exactly what the Zozo was for, but it wasn't particularly about the president. It was about empowering the prime minister particularly, to call a Zozo for any particular area. So it was giving the prime minister the power. That's how the Zozo was phrased.
So that's not conspiracy. That was real.
Yeah. It was passing the power to the prime minister to call those limited states in certain areas, which is why it gave the prime minister considerable power, which is why I did my whole PowerPoint presentation when I said it shouldn't be the prime minister. The prime minister could recommend it, but it should go to an independent assessment tribunal that says you have enough evidence or no, you don't, if you wanted to go that way, so that the guardrails are intact. Because when you center too much power when it comes to constitutional rights into one person, you're looking for problems. And that's why democracies have tried to put guardrails and the separation of powers as a mechanism to guard against that complete and absolute power. That historically we know what has happened in human history, what has happened when one person has absolute power. And I think that was part of the problem with that legislation. Whether Jamaicans want to accept it or not, that is their business. In terms of Trinidad and Tobago, those guardrails, I think, need more protection, which is why I would have suggested maybe you should have an independent body that takes the recommendation of the prime minister and analyzes what is there to decide whether it should go ahead or not. But
you know what happened? We duck one problem and run straight into the next one. Now we have a minister who, once he engages, as the AG says, the interests, once you engage his interests, he could just sign a PDO and have you locked up without charge. That's what's happening now. Eh?
Well, that potentially, and I'm using my words carefully, that potentially is a potential abuse in terms of how the society is now looking at PDOs.
Yep.
And PDOs are the biggest, I think PDOs and the issuance of PDOs is the biggest spoke in the wheel that the government has unintentionally created for opposition to further states of emergencies.
Yeah.
Because citizens are now seeing the result of it, even though, you know, there's, well, I don't know that there were many voices talking about the SOE shouldn't be a crime fighting tool, but indicates to you this is the kind of power that you're giving. So unintentionally, I think it has created a spoke in the wheel that they think that they could just run with states of emergency, because you now have a burgeoning group and a substantial amount of citizens that are saying, wait, this can't be fair.
Yeah.
But you have two decisions now going to go before one decision pending from the Privy Council concerning that issue, the issue of PDOs, and another one going with the Hadids. So the Privy Council will now indicate whether this is allowed or not, or whether there are certain parameters that are going to govern how PDOs are done.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what the results are out of the Privy Council with regard to issues like this, which is why I say going before the court system is important in establishing what the lines are.
Yeah. We didn't give the poll results, guys. Could you pull it up there for us, Peter? Of course, our poll is still up on the screen. Do you agree with the Prime Minister that crime has gone down under the UNC? Well, look at it. We're almost similar to TV6. Yes says 6%. 6% of you said yes, and 94% of you said no. All right? 6% of you said yes, crime has gone down. 94% of you said no, it has not. All right? So that closes off our poll, but we still taking calls, of course. You know? Yeah, as I said, we run from one problem straight into the next one.
We do have one caller on the line currently.
Yes, let's take the call now.
Caller, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, hello, good morning.
Yeah, morning.
Yeah, good morning.
We're getting an echo from you, caller. I don't know if it's from you.
Yeah, I think I know load on the TV.
Yeah.
Good now?
Yes, go ahead. Fine.
Good morning, Wendell. Good morning. Rich.
Good morning.
Yesterday, I had a second point to make. But due to this time constraint and stuff and things like that, right? But I see today, we keep coming back to the same thing. To me, the crime what I'm talking about, or crime like murders and crime and things in general, is a symptom of a bigger problem, right? And both the main political parties, the PNM and the UNC, not addressing that. They just want to see under them who murders less and who if crime go down, and everybody claiming that. Now, even if the crime go down, I still say the priority of the police is to apprehend whoever is committing the crime. Right? Okay. To me, here is the biggest crime. The biggest crime that people are supposed to be concerned about, and which causes all the murders and all the symptoms, is, to me, income inequality. And none of them are addressing that. So I'm trying to get some statistics, and maybe 100% because we're not keeping exact track of those statistics. But what I gather in my research is this: 77% of the population earns $6,000 or less. 77%. 30% of our population earn the minimum wage. Right? Well, we don't have. I cannot believe that they're saying our unemployment rate is 4.8%. That's what the statistics saying, which is ridiculous. Right? So they have no idea, no count or whatever. Right? The top 23% of our population works for more than 3 to 4 times that of the lower income people. The top 5% of the population, which is CEOs, judges, right? Because you compare people like pensioners. The statistic I get is that NIS have 135,000 pensioners, and in the public assistance grant, there's 105,000 people. So that means over 30,000 pensioners just receiving NIS, which is $3,000, which is below the minimum wage. With all the thinking and stuff, they raised the minimum wage and didn't realize when they set the minimum wage at $20.50, that comes out to $3,600. and they still have the pensioners getting $3,000. So 30,000 pensioners, according to them record, working for less than the minimum wage, which is $3,000. Right? You watch at any country that have steep crime and murders and all kind of thing, and you'll see that is the common thread, the income inequality, right? And if you watch Trinidad and Tobago, our percentage on inequality index is about like 69%, probably in the top 20 in the world. Like Mexico and El Salvador and all these places that have high crime, is cases where they have extreme poverty, people living below the poverty line. And nobody is addressing that. The government of Trinidad and Tobago set a ceiling for people, an income ceiling, right? Saying that the ceiling is $5,500. That is what we're supposed to live on, right? In the last PNM administration, Dr. Rao, you are saying, you know, we had to wean the public off of the public purse. We had to wean the public off of the government. You want to wean the people off of the government who getting $3,000 NIS amount, wean them off on social assistance. And then he increased his salary by 40-something% to $87,000. You check $87,000 as opposed to $3,000 and see what is the inequality gap there, right? And nobody not addressing that on both sides of the party. Oh, this is things I'm looking at. I say I am a horse in the race. I have a decision to make in the next 4 years, right? And to me, the UNC and thing with the current thinking of the PNM, nobody not addressing that, not making the cut, right? So I just wanted to throw that into the mix, and I will think about it. So I'll give way then, for somebody else. Thanks, September.
I think if you are, I may be subject to correction to somebody who's an expert in this, but I think if you are getting NIS, and NIS is something that you contributed towards, there's no gift from the government. You contributed towards.
No, that's true.
And your employer contributed towards NIS. So your NIS benefits over a period of your life. Of course, if you have more than 750 contributions, you get an INS monthly. If you don't, you get a lump sum. So let's assume you're getting $3,000 a month from the NIS. I think you are still allowed to apply for senior citizens grant, and they amalgamate the both, and you get maybe roughly 5,000. I'm not sure, but I think it's something like that. There is some sort of matriculation in terms of how it's done. So if you're only getting 3,000, I think once you're getting under $3,500 in NIS, you can apply for senior citizens grant in tandem with that. Now, I may have the figures a little off, but there is some matriculation that happens there with regard to that. But I suppose the broader question is, how does government equalize the playing field between those who are on that lower end, and especially the senior citizens who are disadvantaged because they are, so for many, they are functionally at the end of their working life. Some may still work, but functionally you have less options. How does the government take care of or provide some level of financial relief that is sustainable and that still gives a certain quality and standard of life to that group, and where do they value it? And that's also a cost thing. That's also a taxation thing. Do you have to tax X more to make sure you can provide for that group? And you have the additional problem that senior citizens group is growing in Trinidad and Tobago, like in most developed countries, disproportionately to how much younger people there are. So the younger group is having to finance an NIS that's burgeoning as more and more people cross the age of 60 and are living longer. So it's a whole actuarial calculation, which is why NIS payments have gone up, and why they are gradually shifting the retirement age to 65, because of all of those mathematical problems in terms of ensuring people's quality of life. But your ability to provide the kind of of quality of life to citizens, and because politicians are earning attractive salaries now, means it's incumbent on them to find ways to increase GDP, increase economic activity, so that the state itself gets more and more money so it can pour into services that take care of the most vulnerable and give the most vulnerable hope or a quality of life that they may not have without state intervention. But to do that, the state has to be as wealthy as possible. And that's the responsibility of the salaries that they get, in case they didn't know. That's the responsibility of the salaries that you receive, to make sure that you can lift a lot of the vulnerable parts of the country out of any poverty and out of minimum wages that are ridiculous, and lift it up higher so that everybody enjoys a certain standard and quality of life. And that's really your mandate as a government.
Of course, we do have another caller on the line. Caller, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Wendell and Richard and the next Mr. there. Like,
Peter. Peter, yes. Peter. It's Peter.
Mr. Peter, good morning, Mr. Singh.
Yeah. Morning, Mr. Grant.
As a senior citizen, you see this thing with this old age pension and NIS, there's much voter according to how much thing, but you can't pass the gap at 6,000, okay? So that is it, Richard. That way thing. There's much vote, so you can't get over 6,000. If you get sometimes if you get any other little thing out in the earlies, and you have a saving, they used to ask if you have a saving, how can I take to it? If you have any land and housing, and like put it in, have houses mortgaging or renting and your tenants, they will include that. And if you have, they will, I think, I'm sure, they might want to deny you getting your old age pension, you know, if you have that income coming in. Because what some people doing, who have houses, they put it on the children's name in order to qualify. Okay? Now, when the first said, we take $80-something thousand high pay, the opposition campaign against it. But you know, when she go and she take the money quiet. Yeah? Another thing with the Indian High Commissioner, with the thing on Emancipation Day. They no respect for women there. I tell you that all the time. They have a place where they open in Monclova. I always talk about it from the day they was started building, because booking you happy, it was an empty piece of land. And when Rowdy come in and he started to move things, opposite Monclova where the Oncology Center was supposed to go up, they open up the build up that the Indian government helped build that. That building in less than a year. And you know what they meant? For India culture, they meant. Jesus said a lot of people be driving all over the country and watching and things. That's why they like drive and watch, you know, and look at things. You see the
oncology center wasn't on that side, you know, that you're talking about. The oncology center was on the opposite side.
But yeah, opposite of the side right behind the carrot, out of all the land. We used to play football there.
Yeah, but that wasn't where the oncology center was going. So you're wrong in stating that. The oncology center was on the Mount Hope side.
The oncology center opposite. The other piece of land was just by way URP entrance was to go into the back of Karim. That was an empty piece of land there, but Mr. Pandey gave them that yes, because I used to be watching the sign. And I tell you, I just watch when I drive it and read and observe certain things. And you see Big Macomb all over up there now on the land there, Pennywise, or fast it finish, just like going and open, plus Trinity Mall. So up here, we have plenty of people. I know they're going to let you for me to come and see some blues. Anyhow.
But have a theater already in Trinity Mall also?
Yeah, but that's what, Trinity Mall. Remember Trinity Mall was up for sale.
But it's still operating. It's still operating.
Yeah, they're operating. Somebody was to buy it, but I didn't think they buy it. But over the next side now, Pennywise put big banner and place for rent. Right? So anyhow, what the best fellas? Listen and for yourself.
Yeah. But that Pennywise Mall is impressive. That's an impressive strip mall they're putting up there. Plaza, I should say plaza. We don't call it strip malls here. A plaza. It's an impressive plaza they're putting up there.
Yeah, they did it. And they did it in record time too.
I hope people use the walkover that is provided in the area and don't run across that highway. Because we're going to have real problems with people trying to run across that highway. Right in that area.
Yeah.
Because the walkover is a little distance up. You know what I mean?
A little.
Not too much. You know what I mean? But I hope people use it. You know? Yeah. But the issue of that Indian High Commission thing, I don't know what is he thinking behind it. Maybe it has some significance to the folks in India at that point in time. But the High Commission of India, Port of Spain, we assuming this thing is true, people, has an open house for the Indian community and diaspora members at the High Commission of India on Victoria Avenue on Saturday, August 1st. Now that's African Emancipation Day from 11 a.m. Right? We are assuming that this is a genuine, a legitimate post from the High Commission of India. I don't know that they've ever had anything on that day before. Maybe they've had their accustomed having an event on that day. But that's what's being advertised from the High Commission of India. All right. As I say, they have not denied that post came from them, but we don't know for sure that it actually did. All right.
We do have another call on the line.
Yeah, let's take it now. We could take one more call before we break for the news.
All right. Morning again, Wendell and Richard.
Morning. Morning.
The next guy.
Peter.
Wendell. Yeah, Peter. Now, first, let me see what I heard about the Indian Commission. I think it's an insult for African Emancipation for them to try to force out something on that day when the people, the diaspora celebrated the African Emancipation Day. I think it's an insult. I've been plain and bold about it. They're supposed to reconsider next day. Right? Or consider next day. Wendell, Richard, I believe this thing could work in this country, where politicians are concerned. Let us look at Singapore and China and some of the most successful countries. Where think is the main thing they do to get the country up and going? They deal with the people ahead first. They deal with the politicians in China. If you're a politician, you are caught stealing. They pay the lesson. I feel they should make politics less attractive in this country, right? Because the average politician, the average doctor, the average lawyer, the average person in high position in this country knows when they go into certain profession, they're entitled to get rich. Hence the reason why we have the practice in the general hospital and people have private practices. Now, you can say I'm wrong, but look at the trend. Anytime the average person know when they get into politics, when they hit the Red House, they're entitled to get rich. Make it look less attractive, right? Have standardized laws, have a standardized salary base for politicians. If you are caught, and that'll simplify our laws because that's too much red tape. And when they go to court, they can start thinking court for years and all this. Simplify the laws. And when they do that, they will get confidence in the population, right? And so much of people wanting to go and be politicians will see as better than stay in a private practice, right? And people who want to do good for the communities will go into politics because it does not pay as much. They can't thief as much. They can't kick back as much. Campaign financing will be passed, right? And it will be less attractive. They support Singapore and all these developed countries. If we want to develop like them, deal with the top, deal with the head first. Start to jail people, execute people. I got it.
Yeah. You know, that used to be politics.
I mean, Singapore is very tough on corruption, but Singapore politicians are among the best paid in the world.
Yeah. But I just recently, somebody in China was also put to death for some corruption issue. Not so? Sentenced to death?
Too, but then in China, you have to take it with a lot of salt because you never know if it's somebody competing for power that they say, hey, he corrupt. Sorry, China, but that's what it is.
But at one point in time,
Singapore, I will more say okay there about corruption. Of course, I am totally against the death penalty, so I don't believe anyone should be executed. But I'm not sure that Singapore executes you, but they will certainly hold you accountable if you. They have built the entire public service on a very much zero tolerance for corruption and very meritocracy oriented. But their politicians are among the best paid on the planet in terms of salaries and stuff like that. But of course, they can afford it because they have a very strong and powerful economy. And if Trinidad and Tobago hopes to mimic it, we'll have to deal with corruption, but we also have to deal with common sense approaches to how you deal with issues and how governments treat with citizens. I always come back to that since 1962 to 2026. How much money has Trinidad and Tobago had run through it to still see people living in the ridiculous situations in which they live? So no government in Trinidad and Tobago could stand up to my face and say, yes, we have dealt with housing in any plausible and dignified manner. Yes, some would have been built, but there should be none. There shouldn't be any backlog still in 2026. There's 1.4 million people. We have to deal with hundreds of millions of people here. 1.4. And a percentage of that dealing with the housing market privately anyway. And you still have a backlog of nearly 100,000 or 200,000 people waiting for houses. Shameful on all governments that have governed us since 1962. Shameful.
And I said in an earlier program that not one single house will be built within this 5-year term. Not with that bunch inside of that ministry.
Well, they were going through the 3.4 billion thing that became scrutinized under the
OPR.
The OPR and the regulator. But I find it shameful that you still have people, and you see people sometimes living in such ridiculous and horrible housing that is unacceptable for a country that has so much money. That in itself is an indication of the failure of governments that have ruled this country.
All right.
Don't let me start up on water. There's another one.
Yeah.
And if you want to go down the roads, another one.
Oh Lord.
Before we continue, we do have to go for the news. It is 5 minutes past, so let's go for the news and we'll come back.
All right, surely.
The news you need, the clarity you deserve. Local, regional, global. This is NETT Radio News Now.
This is News Now on NETT Radio and Guile TV. I am Derek McMillan. Thank you for joining us. NCRHA Chairman Dr. Tim Gopising has dismissed as false and misleading claims by the Trinidad and Tobago National Nursing Association that the authority has implemented an illegal 4-hour shift system for nurses and midwives. TTNNA President Edie Stewart alleged that hundreds of nursing and midwifery personnel were being placed on 4-hour shifts without prior notice, consultation, or agreement, at a time when the NCRHA was facing a severe staffing shortage. Stewart said the association was reviewing the legality of the arrangement and preparing possible legal action, arguing that employers cannot unilaterally change established conditions of service. Gopising declined further comment, saying he would not respond to what he described as repetitive false statements. Prime Minister Kamla Prasad Bisesar says police CompStat data show there have been 118 fewer murders in Trinidad and Tobago this year compared with the same period in 2024 under the former People's National Movement administration. In a social media post, Prasad Bisasar said murders fell from 331 between January 1st and July 20th, 2024, to 213 during the same period in 2026, a decline of about 36%. She also claimed that based on previous murder trends, approximately 400 fewer people have been killed during 2025 and 2026 combined than would have been projected under the PNM. The Prime Minister said all police divisions recorded reductions when compared with 2024, with the largest declines in Port of Spain, Central, Western, and Eastern divisions. A U.S. Army sergeant of Trinidad and Tobago heritage who was reported missing after an Iranian attack on a U.S. military base in Jordan has been confirmed dead. The Pentagon identified Sergeant Angel Sarah Rampersad, 28, of New York, as the fourth American service member believed killed in the July 17th attack on Muwafaq Salti Air Base. Rampersad, who served with the Germany-based 1st Battalion, 57th Air Defense Artillery Regiment, had initially been listed as missing before her status was changed to believed to be deceased. The Trinidad and Tobago government expressed condolences, noting that Rampersad's father is a Trinidad and Tobago national. Foreign Affairs Minister Sean Sobers has spoken with her father, and officials from the Consulate General in New York visited the family to offer support. Residents of the Les Jardines townhouse complex in Curaçao have praised police for their rapid response to a home invasion that ended with one suspect dead and another arrested. Police said 4 masked men armed with guns, knives, and a cutlass entered a townhouse on Monday morning and robbed 3 women of jewelry, cash, and a cell phone. After residents sounded air horns and alerted police, officers launched a large-scale search operation. One suspect was arrested, while another, identified as Shaquem Gabriel, was later found in an abandoned building. Investigators said Gabriel pointed a firearm at officers and opened fire, prompting police to return fire. He was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. 2 other suspects remain at large, while the Police Complaints Authority has launched an investigation into the fatal shooting. In regional news, all 6 crew members aboard the fishing vessel St. Vincent 7 have been rescued alive after days in distress at sea, following a coordinated operation involving a commercial ship and the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard. The Ministry of Defense said the crew of the MV Marvel Kite spotted the missing vessel about 349 nautical miles east of Galeota, while en route to the United States, and altered course to investigate. All 6 fishermen were found on board and were reported to be in reasonably good health, with no serious injuries. A Coast Guard vessel was dispatched to rendezvous with the commercial ship and transport the fishermen safely back to Trinidad and Tobago. Defense Minister Wayne Sturge thanked the crew of the MV Marvel Kite for their assistance in the rescue. Finally, an Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo has killed at least 999 people, according to the country's health ministry, making it the fastest Ebola outbreak in history. Officials said 2,473 cases have been recorded since the outbreak was declared on May 15th, with 737 patients currently in isolation or receiving hospital treatment. The outbreak is caused by the Bundibugyo virus, for which there are no approved vaccines or treatments. Health authorities have warned that 80% of new infections are coming from unknown chains of transmission, making it increasingly difficult to track and contain the spread. The epidemic has spread from Ituri province into 4 other provinces, while attacks on health facilities and unpaid health workers have further complicated the response. Africa CDC has urged intensified international efforts to prevent the outbreak from becoming one of the worst ever documented. And that is NETT Radio News at this time.
That was news now. Stay informed with new Era TT Radio. NETT Radio.
All aboard! Calling all you NETT Radio listeners and fans. It's time to pack your cooler, gather your crews. Join us on NETT Radio. NETT Radio's Halloween Cooler Crew in red, white, and black. On board the luxurious Island Royalty, Saturday, 15th of August, boarding at 7 p.m. from
be understood.
Enjoy great music all night long from your favorite net DJs. Sir Charles, CJ, Mr. Flavor, Doc International, RJ, and Fluffman.
Tell you you's a big dancer. Come show
Early
them who's
bird
a big
tickets are
dancer.
just $200 after $250. Get your tickets now at Crosby in St. James, Rumba, St. James, Bobby's Bar in Crep, Fats International in Arima, K Square Fashions at C3 Center, West Mall, and Eastgate Mall, and all net DJs. No glass bottles allowed. Bring your coolers, bring your crews, and let's celebrate together. Net Radio, Halloween, Hula Crew. Saturday, August the 15th, aboard the Island Royalty. For information, call 638-2609 or 497-7173. Halloween, on the scene. Flavor Entertainment Services, your one-stop premium entertainment service provider. We offer top-tier, best-in-class karaoke and DJ services for your private events, sports bars and lounge. Let us help make your birthday parties, weddings, anniversaries, and corporate special events memorable and special. Call us now at 462-2029. We provide more than just music. We create memories that last.
S&H Rumbox, 137 Western Main Road, St. James, for all your retail and wholesale needs for alcohol and non-alcoholic beverages. Call us at 686-0599 or visit us at 137 Western Main Road, St. James. S&H Rumbox, drinking out of the box.
All right, we are back from our 8 o'clock news. Oh, this news has run too fast. When Sir Charles not here, boy. What Peter does do different, man?
I don't think I do anything differently.
Is it that something missing? Eh? We back so early already. Anyway, maybe it's just how I had chance to relax. You know, so we having some intense discussion. I know that we're supposed to have Dirk Barnes coming in for a few minutes to talk about what's his name? What's Dirk? What's the name of that thing again? Jeez on edges. This is terrible of me.
I believe it was Cock, yeah.
Yeah. When we get Dirk in, we'll talk. But we could still continue to take some calls until we get do we have Dirk in already? Peter?
No, he's not here as yet.
Okay, all right. So we could take a couple calls.
Yeah, we do have one call on the line.
Yeah, let's take.
Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning, Zina.
Morning.
Good morning, Richard. Filling his face in the back at home. Listen, the news want a bit of twerking. You know that part about the fishermen? 6 of them were rescued alive, and soon after the captain expired. 5 were returned, and his body was left, I think, across whether it's in St. Vincent nowhere. So all of them didn't return here alive. 5 returned, and 1 died soon after they were rescued alive. So that is as far as I know about that story. Anyhow, I want to come back to us here. There's a Calypsonian, somebody sang about Camlamatics. You see all what I hear about and who using figures from where and telling us Nancy stories. When I listen to the real news on Ian Allen, I never used to listen to that man, but I listen now. Because when I hear real people we're watching, talking some stories. This country here, people going mad. And as an earlier caller said, the cost, the wage earning bracket is so vast that I'm grossly in what should I say, unbalanced. That a lot of people in this country are starving and living in substandard situations. When I could see a man on the news and walk out, he get 15 months hard labor for walking out of Massey with over 10,000 goods and high grade thing to eat, you know. You that tells you a story. He walked with all kind of high grade things to eat. Cheese and
Which one of the Massey stores on Tumpuna Road that was Zina? I read that, but Tumpuna Road has about 3 Massey stores. But they didn't really say which one.
From how I talk, I think it's the one in Arima.
You mean up in the heart of Arima?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I am saying crime. When I listen to, I'm telling you, to Ian Allen, the news I'm seeing, the amount of crime in this country, and it have real people out there, a lot of men that police should be looking for now, on the hunt for them. It have plenty people who lock up in PDOs that taking up space that they shouldn't be there. It have plenty men out here who done commit crime already. They killing, who woman hiding from them, who burning down who house, who beating up woman and burning down the house, and what is madness going on out here? And the earlier caller spoke about, the same caller who talked about the salary thing. I agreed with him, but he kept stressing a point that no government they ever dealing with that. Let me tell you, when Dr. Rowley said that this kind of thing, what's going on here with the crime, is a form of mental problem. People boil him down and laugh and talk and say talking stupidness. Is a lot of mental problems people having out here, you know, where they can't get a way of living to survive, to feed their family, and so, you know. A lot of men who are unemployed, a lot of crime going on, you know. So people are feeling nowhere safe out here. So I don't know where they come in with this mathematics according to the Calypsonian until let's feel crime down. Crime is not down. And people are starving. And the economy has gone to a halt. You ever watching? Sometimes I go around the mall. I just go around the mall to look at things and breathe out and amuse my eyes. What you could really buy?
Oh, sorry,
the most thing you might find people doing in a place is eating.
Caller, sorry to interrupt. We do have to cut this. We do have to cut this call short. Unfortunately, our guest is here. We don't really want to take up too much of his time.
Sure. Go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah. Just before you bring in Dirk too, I don't know if there was breaking news a while ago of a toddler, a child's body being found on the shores at Lucio. The Hunter Search and Rescue Team, they are there now. Apparently there was a boat. I don't know if it's Venezuelans who were trying to come across. But the toddler's body has been found on the shores of Lucio in, you know where Lucio is, right? That was breaking news just a short while ago, right? I sort of should let you all know. All right. So good morning, Dirk.
Hi, good morning. You guys hear me?
Yes, we hear you loud and clear.
How are
Hello?
you guys? Yes, good morning and welcome. Good morning to your listeners as well. I just got a little distracted there, sorry.
Good morning. That's quite all right. All right. Thanks for joining us once again on this Thursday. Of course, to give us any updates on what you have to tell us in terms of recovery. I think I saw this morning that you had recovered a Hyundai Ioniq. It had been stolen and you all had recovered it. You want to tell us a little more about that?
That was interesting. So yesterday we got a call from one of our clients, and actually it's a client of a client because it's a fleet, a part of a large fleet. And they indicated from their control room that one of their drivers woke up in the morning and was leaving sometime after 9 and realized the car wasn't where they parked it. So when we got that call, and strange enough, that call was about to happen. That call came in 5 minutes before we were about to do our own drill, because we do drills regularly.
Mm-hmm.
So we tracked the vehicle immediately, and we deployed our team, and our team headed down. This was in Gasparilla. So the vehicle arrived found itself in Gasparilla, having been taken from Diamond Vale sometime 3 o'clock in the morning.
Diamond Vale.
And the other thing I kind of find strange too is an Ionic. It's a push button start Ionic. We've been talking about this recently. About how these Ionics, about how push button start vehicles are very vulnerable. Well, now Ionic has joined that list.
Well, I was going to ask you that, because isn't this one of those? The Ionic is a fairly new model car.
Yeah. I mean, it came out. I think it came out in China sometime in 2019, 2020.
Mm.
I can't recall. No, actually, it was before that, because it was 2018. I remember when they came in.
Mm.
So I mean, they have found ways around it. It's 8 years, and they could now start the vehicles without the key. But anyway, so we deployed our teams, and part of, even though we have supplemental police officers deployed from our company, we still contact the nearest police station and things like that. So we contacted the police. At first, we thought it was falling under San Fernando. They directed us to Marabella. When we called Marabella, there was some other incident in the area, and the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service were unable to send anyone at that time. So they asked us plain and simple if it is we were precepted, if we were carrying firearms. So we answered yes and yes. And then they said, okay, well, you guys can handle this one. If you need any assistance, call us back and let us know. And then they asked us where we take any vehicle. So we basically asked, well, where do you like us to take it? And they said, well, take it back to the division. So, all right, no problem. So we made the arrangements, and we handled that recovery from beginning to end. And this is a very interesting thing for me, because I've done recoveries for almost 15 years now. And I think this is the first time I've ever had a request from the TTPS to handle it because they were otherwise engaged. Now, I have worked with those officers before in Marabella, so they know what we're about. They know how we carry about ourselves. And I'm sure they know what approvals and things we have. But it goes to show, and this is I've been saying this all the time. When you're online and you're looking at different GPS tracking companies and you're looking for GPS tracking and stolen vehicle recovery, and somebody at the other end who knows nothing, absolutely nothing about law or about law enforcement or about operations, telling you, yes, we do stolen vehicle recovery. We call the police and we coordinate with them, and then telling you things like the only people who could do recovery is the police and nobody else, and everybody else lying and all these different things. Well, I would like them to explain yesterday. I would really like them to explain yesterday.
And this is what hour of the morning that the TTPS telling you that they're not able to deal with it.
No, this was around 9:30. But I want to say this, because I don't want people to feel as though this is a TTPS issue or TTPS mismanagement. I served in the Defense Force. I never served as a police officer. And in the Defense Force, I remember the days when we would be on operations. And as an officer myself, I'm on operations with my soldiers. And one of the things I have to consider is the operational tempo, how long I could keep soldiers in that particular mode, because these are people who are not seeing their families, who are not getting time off, who are not getting a chance to go back to school, who are not getting a chance to fix things that happen at home, who are handling stress. Police officers right now, I want the public to understand this. Don't blame the police officers because of what happened yesterday. It's not their fault. This state of emergency that we're in has been going on for months, almost a year. So you have officers outside there who working 24 hours on. By the time they reach home, they're back on the next day. Because the day they reach home is the day off. And then they're going back on the next day. And they've been doing that for months. How does a man achieve work-life balance? So now that this tempo has reached a point where police officers are sick, have to follow up on things, have to call in, I can't make it in today because I have dreadful things to deal with at home. The manpower management is going to be a challenge. So I want people to understand that. So what happened yesterday is not as a result of mismanagement, but it is a result of, and I'm saying this from a professional point of view now, having seen it from being behind it, it is a result of a long, extended operational tempo. You cannot sustain a SOE forever.
You know, you raise an issue there that we probably will take up at another time in terms of the effect that this SOE is actually having on police officers. Because Richard is not online now, but we have been talking about SOEs and their effects and why it's being used and whatnot. But you give me another idea of how we should tackle this the next time that we speak about it. But in terms of the recovery of the car, is it that the car was outfitted with a device?
Yes, it was. The company, I can't name the company obviously, but the company is a large rental company. They have a fleet with us of I think 13 or 1400 vehicles, and they actually sublet at another company, and that company has a relationship with us because we ensure that rental companies, their clients, they deal with us directly. Because imagine when a rental client has to call the rental company to say, I think your car was stolen, and then they have to call us as delay time. Every second matters with a stolen vehicle. We try to push to get vehicles recovered in 5 minutes. Unfortunately, distance, traffic, a little bit of confusion in the reports as to what was really going on here. When we were able to put that took us into a half-hour operation. But I mean, half hour is still within a decent enough window. But the main thing is that vehicle right now is where it is supposed to be with the authorities. The investigation is ongoing, and the customer will get back their vehicle. That is the important part.
Yeah. And so the vehicle was actually taken without the use of a key.
That is correct. We looked at the videos. They broke the driver's side glass, driver's side window, gained entry, and drove off with the car somehow. The person who, from what I understand, they do have the key that they were using. So somewhere along the line, either the key was cloned or they used some other electronic device to get the car started. But the car showed no other type of interventions other than an attempt to find our GPS system, which they were unsuccessful. And yeah, that's what we discovered yesterday.
But that has to be very scary for people who own vehicles like these.
I'll say this, it's scary for everybody who owns vehicles, because I've been coming out on the radio and I've been saying these things before. Car thieves now have evolved. They're not coming to hot wire vehicles. It's those dumber, old-fashioned thieves who will go and take Cheetahs and 80 wagons and stuff like that, where you could just break the ignition module and turn with a screwdriver. Now these guys sit down in your vehicle as though they own it. They could pull up there with a key already programmed. You have to carry your car. Most people will carry their car to a car wash. They don't wash their car themselves, or at least a mechanic, or at least a service center. And when you go to these places, all they have to do is just come in, come with a little device, program a key, and then they leave. We have a service here at Air Support Tactical where we could actually scan your vehicle and see how many keys are programmed in your vehicle. And if it is you only have one or two, but there are three, you have a problem, because that's somebody could be moving around to come and steal your vehicle. One of the things that we are seeing as well is that there are roll-on, roll-off dealerships selling vehicles and promoting that they have their own people to program keys, their own people to put in GPS and that kind of thing. And I always ask, what is the agenda here? Because it seems as though they're trying to frighten clients into only taking GPS from certain entities that no background checks, not even properly registered as a company. The principals themselves are convicts and all these different things. And these are the things that we're seeing in this industry right now. And whenever you ask, well, what is the motive? Those same cars from some of those same roll-off companies are being stolen and taken, and those statistics are not reaching anywhere. So there's a lot of underworld activities happening that the public has to be aware of.
But isn't the industry regulated in some way at all, Dirk? Who and if it is, who regulates it?
Well, here's the interesting part. A GPS company has absolutely no regulation anywhere, nothing other than just the Companies Act and probably in customs and for importation. There's nothing that dictates who creates a GPS company, what they're supposed to have, or anything like that. Primarily, Air Support Tactical, my company, we are what we call a protective service agency. That's a security company. A protective service agency is not like the average security company you see outside. That kind of entity, they have what they call supplemental police, they have precept officers. So when you have precept officers, you have the powers of arrest. A lot of people don't know this, and it comes under Chapter 1502. So that is what we are primarily. But we specialize in GPS tracking and stolen vehicle recovery. So we are not a typical GPS company that was formed yesterday with 2 or 3 directors and then they buy it off of Amazon and have somebody install it. That's not what we do. So we are built as a security company first, GPS company after. Other companies we see advertising, especially those with GPS in the name, GPS this and GPS that, when you really start to look into their operations, they are just, as I say, a company registered with a name GPS or track something, and when we come across these companies and you start to look into the directorship, chances are you're going to find people inside there who have no experience in security. Unlike a security company that is registered with the Ministry of Homeland Security, one of the prerequisites for that registration is to have somebody with experience. And most of the times they look at law enforcement or military experience. With the experience, training, and qualifications, they must be on the directorship to be able to form those companies. Those companies, the directors and the employees, are then background checked by the police service. In fact, nearly every single employee of a protective service agency who are precepted sworn are investigated by Trinidad and Tobago Police Service in one form or fashion. So those are the checks that take place. So they are at a higher level of certification, unlike a GPS tracking company. So when you are shopping online and you see a GPS tracking company, their price looking good and you go and you buy from them, understand you're not getting security, you're getting a product. A GPS tracking device is not a security device. The people who are behind it, who are providing the plans, procedures, tactics, and operations, that is the security. And if you have a man who's selling car mats and carpet and steering wheel covers, but then saying his GPS device is on par with the top security companies, and you believe that, then something you need to go and get checked.
But it has to be concerning though for the producers, the manufacturers of these high-end automobiles. And I think Trinidad and Tobago probably have the most amount of vehicles now. All kind of weird names I've seen on vehicles. I don't even know where they're coming from. Who's bringing them in? But so it has to be concerning for them though that people are still able to steal their cars, despite the fact that these cars are so expensive and so modern.
Well, the thing is, car theft has been a global issue since the first car was invented. And before the first car was invented, they used to steal horse and carriages. So when they invented the first car, they invented the first car thief. Just understand that. So as much as the manufacturers and they could come out with all sorts of different vehicles, with all sorts of different new technologies, I want you to understand as well that any vehicle with whatever technology that could be stolen. I mean, at the end of the day, you could have vehicles with GPS and alarm and immobilizer and all different types of things. And somebody put a gun to your head until they get out. No, those things go and jump out and fight karate and put a handcuff and
very true. Very true. And as I say, I speak from experience with that.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, so it really comes down to what happens after the fact. Now, I am not going to come here and pretend as though, we are the only technology that exists at Air Support Tactical. I'm not going to say that. What I am going to say is that we chose as our tactics to look at when everything else fails, be that last defense. Because remember, you still have these things like alarms and all these different things that could work to some extent, but when they get past all of that, we have to be that last defense that, hey, you say all those things didn't work, I come on my car missing, I pick up the phone and call Air Support Tactical, and 20 minutes later, we could say to you, hey, we have eyes on your vehicle, it'll be taken to station X or station Y. That is what people are looking for. And from a company point of view, from an individual point of view, I love my job. I love the fact, I don't like the fact that people's cars get stolen. I love the fact that my company prevents the car thieves from winning, and it lets the owners win. So that if it is their car gets stolen and the car thieves feel, boy, I get you, there is Air Support Tactical saying, no, you didn't. And as I told people recently, If you are a car thief outside there, an air support tactical crew, ex-special forces, come at you, I am telling you, and we find you, you're going to have a very violent and unfortunate morning.
Yeah, but it must be a relief to people to know that they can a car can be recovered. Now, what happens in an event like that? What would air support tactical do or advise someone whose car has been stolen, it has been recovered? What advice would you give to that person?
Well, from there, once your car has been recovered, right, it's going to be taken to the district for processing, the division where it was stolen. It's like in yesterday's case, it was stolen from Diego Martin. It was taken to West End Police Station. An investigator would be assigned to that particular event. Now, he has to coordinate ensuring that the vehicle has been processed by forensics. And I would say get in contact with that person the same day. Speak with that person, understanding that, again, SOE, they work in shift, they're under pressure. So speak with him as to the timelines when things are going to happen. Now, reality is the people who have to come and do the forensics and stuff like that are doing that all over the country. And you see, with cars being stolen almost every day, between 6 and 7 a day, they have to go and fingerprint all the cars that are being recovered and stuff like that. So you may not get that done same day. Have your certified copy, have your spare key and all those things available, because when they call you and say the car has been processed, you could then go to the station and then retrieve your vehicle. Now, the journey doesn't end there, because when you retrieve your vehicle, it's not like, okay, tomorrow I can go to work with it. Most times, and I say this a lot to warn people, most times I see people are still traumatized by the experience. Sometimes they don't even want to drive the car. And then there are other things that happen because they may have left keys inside the car, documents, and all these different things. And I'll come to that now. Please, guys, when you're parking up your car in the evening, even if you park it up in your own garage, empty your vehicle. The last thing you want to leave there is phone bill and light bill and other documents and passport and keys. Those things should not be in your car, because when those things disappear, women with your purses, sometimes you leave it in your vehicle, in your garage. That's your driver's license, all your cards. It's a huge inconvenience. Do not leave things inside your cars when you park it up in your garage at night.
Yeah. I think this morning, I think I would have been telling people that don't take any chance of leaving anything that you value. Well, we were talking actually about hotel rooms. You understand? Don't leave it hanging around at all, and especially in your cars now, because these guys, you see in videos of them using spark plugs or any manner of thing to just hit your glass and shatter it and take out whatever is in it.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, it's terrible. It's terrible the way things are progressing in this country. You know, how people are operating, how car thieves are moving around freely. And the thing is, I hear people talk about, why support don't do a sting operation, all this thing. We can't do that. We don't have the time, we don't have the resources to put out teams out there observing a vehicle. But then look at what happens when these operations takes place, and then you have let's just say somebody is held, right? That doesn't mean we have one less criminal off the streets, because chances are they're going to get bail and they're going back outside there and do the same thing. You know, luckily, and I'm not getting involved in no political confusion here right now, but luckily I have seen some of the known car thieves ending up on PDOs, right? And they're inside right now. But the unfortunate part about it is that as you remove one, you have 2 or 3 others who take his place. So getting involved in that cat and mouse game, it does not help. The way we have to do something to fix it is each owner, please get a good GPS and put inside of your vehicle, because when you get back the car, to you, that means like, oh, I get back my one car. To me, I am saying that at least them car thieves don't have thousands of dollars because they got your car and you didn't get it back. You understand? You're denying them that value. You're making sure they didn't put food in their mouth. That is what it means on a.
Dirk, good morning. Sorry for not joining. But I was wondering, in terms of larceny of cars and car stealing and stuff like that, what we were talking TTPS statistics today as part of our poll, and crime, and is crime going down? Are the statistics with regard to car stealing down or up?
I would say it's up. I am still waiting to get the final figure from the TTPS, because they manage it and I don't think they published online anymore. So I had requested it, but it is up from what it is we see it. Now, I will say this as well. we do social media surveillance, and in social media surveillance, it shows a percentage of what, and traditionally, it shows a percentage of what the final figure is from the TTPS side of it, who captures all of the data based on the reports. What is troubling is that based on just last week alone, we saw that percentage of posts on social media go up by 120%. That was just last week. That is looking at all of the people, that all of the media houses that post, people who post on different things. Have you seen my vehicle and all those different things? 120% in 1 week. So I'm assuming based on that particular trend, which has been consistent with the national figure, right? We'll say that within last week, there was an uptick. Now, those vehicles are smaller vehicles, Tidas, 80 wagons, Aquas. I mean, those vehicles are taking a rest for a while, but now they back up again, and you see them popping up all over, especially with the Aquas being stripped down. We saw right here in Bamboo number 2, a few vehicles end up inside there. El Socorro, train line down in South, Arima, let's call it space by Windy Hill up in Aruka, sorry. Those are places where cars are currently popping up. All right, and they're popping up, and you know, you're seeing pictures of it. You're hearing about the recoveries and all these different things. Now, the police are outside there and they're working really hard, but the resources are not unlimited. That is the issue.
You know, Dirk, as you said earlier on, some of the known car thieves and so on are actually have been detained under PDOs. What about the people who have these garages where these car thieves go? These chop yards, these dealers where car thieves carry their cars. Have any of them have paid a price?
Well, I have not seen any of their names pop up so far in any of the media reports, so I can't say yes or no. If I had to answer, I would lean towards I don't think so, because I've not heard anything about it. We monitor some of those garages and things as well. And here, funny enough, these garages, the way they operate, this year they might be into cleaning stolen vehicles, and then next year you're going to see them as what's call it not dealership, a dealership. You know, these ambulance love dealerships. They're affiliated with a dealership to do the PD, what's called this thing by the delivery inspections and all this thing. Not the testing, but clean up the vehicles and then before delivery. The PDI, pre-delivery inspection. So they're the ones who would clean the interior and the exterior and polish it up, and then before it gets delivered by different roll of dealerships. Interesting, huh?
Yeah.
We have been looking at that and realizing that, okay, well, we don't know if that is that's how they're doing it, but we know that those garages before used to paint vehicles and change chassis numbers, and now look at that, they're working for certain roll of dealerships.
Yeah. Anyway, anything else you want to tell us, Dirk, before we close off?
Well, no, I want to kind of cover that because I wanted people to understand that not everybody who is posting on social media is an expert in, GPS tracking and especially stolen vehicle recovery parts. There are only a couple of companies that I've named before that are actively involved in stolen vehicles, and the majority of everybody else you see outside there are pretending or coordinating with the TTPS. The TTPS during the state of emergency do not have unlimited resources, and they have been working for the past year, almost day on, day off. They are tired. They cannot achieve work-life balance. Some of them cannot go on vacation. So you have people outside there who they can't expect that they wouldn't make a mistake or drop the ball. Here at Air Support Tactical, our job is to fill that gap with our customers. You call us, we deploy in minutes, not hours. We deploy in minutes, and we work for every single customer. We provide the same services for every single customer. So if you hear from us and we send in drones and teams and all these different things to get an 80 wagon, is the same thing we're going to send to get your G wagon. Is the same service.
All right. Thank you so much, Dirk, for once again joining us on a Thursday to give us an idea and a reality check on what's happening in Trinidad and Tobago. And thanks to Air Support, Air Tactical Support or Air Support Tactical?
Air Support Tactical. Thanks very much.
Air Support Tactical, guys. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, right. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thanks,
take care.
Guys. Take care. Have a good day.
All right. Of course, that was Dirk Barnes from Air Support Tactical, giving us an idea on how to protect your second biggest investment. For some people, it's their biggest investment. And to know that these push-start cars, that people can come and steal them without without a key. That has to be worrying to anybody with one right now. And most people have that. I can't tell you last time I see a vehicle where you're turning a key in it.
So true. This certainly was very, very insightful, I will say.
Yeah. You think you run out of questions and then more comment.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we could still open the lines. Peter, we have a few minutes left. We could still take some calls. I see somebody complaining earlier on that the time for callers has been drastically reduced. But we give a lot of time for callers here. This program, outside of any other program, gives more time to callers than any other program that I am aware of. You know? I don't know what's the challenge with getting through sometimes with the call. You know what I mean? Maybe the challenge is there, but we certainly open the lines and give a lot of chance for people to talk. So call now, 281-1315-299-5156. All right, and we could take some calls. Yeah. Yes, Zina, I saw that. I saw someone says Massey Mandalay, that thing happened. Lavana Bouye, I think that's the name I seen there. Says that it happened at Massey Mandalay where the person picked up all this stuff. Okay, that's strange though. Massey Mandalay have security by the alcohol lane. They have a security who's walk around, and they have a security by the door at all times. That particular Massey has at least 3 or 4 security officers inside of that Massey.
Interesting. We do have a call on the line. Caller, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Hey, good morning. I'm calling from Maryland.
Maryland. Okay, hi, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Yes. Good morning. Am I
Go
on?
ahead, Paula. Go ahead. We're hearing you. I know you might be a little delayed, but we're hearing you.
Yes, that was a very interesting conversation about car thieves and the response from the gentleman online. My only concern is, I had an incident with a family member here in Maryland where somebody stole their car, and they stole their car. They drove the car thieves took the car. They were driving from Maryland to DC, and they were calling the police. So when they called the police can chase the car thieves because chasing the car thieves might kill or injure other people on the highway, on the road, because the risk of killing and injuring other people was greater, than catching the car thief. It was too much of a risk. So they have a policy where they don't chase car thieves because you don't want to kill and injure other innocent people. So my concern is, Trinidad have a proliferation of guns, right? And it's a small island. So when you're responding to these car thieves and you're a private organization, which is good, I'm not criticizing the guy, but, going after car thieves and using, all of these highly tactical guys and stuff like that, sometimes you have to ask the question, if it's worth it, and with private organizations and stuff like that, going after these people with weapons and highly trained and stuff like that for a stolen car, what is the risk of getting, collateral damage with other citizens and stuff like that? You have to consider that. Is it worth it? So that was my concern listening to that whole exchange right there. Yes, losing a car, your property, especially in Trinidad, I think there is some policy where you have to get back a piece of your car, which is nonsense, to get the insurance. So it's a very emotional and a very financially hard things to go through. But we also, we like this tactical talk and this tactical talk. I'm a retired soldier, for 24 years. I've been to war. So it's when I listen to this, it's like, everything is the tactical part of this and going after these car thieves with special forces and all of these things, you know, you have to consider collateral damage going after
Yeah.
that. You know, is it worth it? That's my only concern.
Yeah.
Full exchange right there.
Thanks, caller. And you've raised a valid concern, and maybe next time we speak with Dirk, we could raise that. Has there ever been an exchange in terms of what you are referring to when they are pursuing the recovery of a car? I've never heard of any, I must admit. But then we probably Dirk would be the best person to answer that the next time we have him. You also raised another concern about when a car is stolen and to get the insurance that you must recover some part of the car. I used to hear about, but I don't think that holds anymore. I don't know if Richard or anybody else.
I don't know anything about that, sir. I don't know anything about that.
You never lose a car, Richard? You never had a car stolen from you?
Nope.
All right. Well, you better knock wood where you are. I don't know if you have wood where you're close to you now. But you better...
Well...
You better knock it. You don't have to answer. You don't have to answer the question. Just knock it now.
But you know what, Wendell? I suppose when you are, I suppose when you're protected by the blood of Jesus Christ. You
Oh, there we go again. The hypocrite.
God's child.
No,
that's not what religious people say, Wendell.
Yes.
They have the best GPS. They have the best GPS. They sit in the passenger seat.
But you have to say blood, eh? A lot of them have sharply hung up in the car and all kind of thing. That is the blood. You're protected by the blood.
So I don't know.
I think that whole thing with Wendell too is how much you believe.
What's that,
It
Charlie?
all depends on how strong your faith is. Yes.
Where you come from? Charlie, you protected by the blood?
Of course, I'm protected by the blood.
we do have a caller on the line.
Somebody to the nursing home. Somebody calling from hospital there.
Yeah.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes. No, Ron, you're in the hospital?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm hanging on here and yeah. St. Christopher, boy. St. Christopher. Once I have St. Christopher in my car, you can't do nothing to me.
You can't hide. You can't hide. You can't hide when you're around me, you know.
No, so true. You're very true, Ron. The St. Christopher, when you go up Mount St. Benedict and you bless your car, you just have to go in the shop and buy a St. Christopher emblem of some sort and leave that in the car, you know. And that's it. Nothing like Catholic power, you know. Catholic power is it, you know.
Anyway, Wendell, I didn't answer your question. I'm sorry because I know you guys were pressed for time there. So you were asking what the hotels could do when they get their biometrics, right? But other people do, but I say specifically the hotels. That's why I didn't stay. Here's what. It just like precious metals and whatever, right? Something in today's age. You see, information, the right price, you can get anybody's information. You see what I'm saying? So if you go and you put in your biometrics all over the place, you never know where that can hand up. And sometimes it may not be deliberate, it may just be incompetence, right? That can cause that by whoever gathers that information and how well they safeguard it. You know what I'm saying? So they sell that information. They sell it. And I think some states have it, and Richard could correct me if I'm wrong, but I think some states have very strict guidelines into how you manage people's information. I always get stuff in the mail like, hey, you're entitled to $5 from a settlement lawsuit. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because you're jumping up somewhere. So that is what's happening. All right, guys. Have a good day. Yeah, go up on the mount and tell the abbot I send you. Throw some holy water on your dashboard and go and get the St. Christopher medal or the statue. Right, Richard? Anyway, catch you guys later.
All right. I've never done that blessing of the car thing and all that. I've never done that.
That's why they teach the car.
No, well, I mean, I have had a vehicle stolen from me. Well, taken at gunpoint, actually. You know what I mean? But I've never done that blessing in the car. I say my prayers myself if I go in my car. I ask the Creator to guide me and especially to drive safely, because they are nothing. Is the driving I worry about, not the car thief. You know what I mean? It's the madness on the roads I just be worried about more. No. What you good?
All right, people. Just before we go, don't forget to get your tickets for the cruise. All right, it's coming up on August the 15th. Make sure you get your tickets. And of course, if you are not coming on the cruise, buy a ticket same way and support the venture. Right. So August 15th, don't forget. I'm not in a position to tell you all too much this morning.
Yeah, that's all right. And of course, we're gonna try to get Hillary Benjamin to talk about her fundraiser. Hopefully next week, because it's by next weekend her fundraiser is coming on Sunday, August 2nd. All right. So folks, have an absolutely wonderful day. Remember to let go and let God.
Get up, it's the time to start the day. The breakfast show is here, we bring in the soca way. Yeah.